Test, test. Hello, 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 hello. What's up, everybody? Hello today. Hello, hello. All right. Sweet. How are we all doing today, folks? Working. Cute, cute. All right. Figure we watch a little bit of the trial today. Play a little chess. So it's been going on for about 4 hours this morning already. I should say this afternoon. Looks like it started around 10. But she's taking the stand today. This is the beginning.
Okay.
Let's see. There was no audio.
It was like I couldn't win if I didn't do anything, if I didn't say anything to him about the drinking, if I didn't acknowledge it. It got worse. If I did acknowledge it, it was
really
my fault and I was nagging.
Today.
And I get it. I wouldn't like to be told what to do either. So, but it made him really angry. And the kids were on this press tour, and I was just concerned about them. I was concerned about them hearing us. Johnny screamed at me in the hotel room, and all I could think were the kids were in an adjoining room. What if they could hear us? I had just met them, and I didn't want them to think poorly of me and hate me, not knowing what was going on, in our behind closed doors. I remember it was name calling, and he eventually passed out.
Do you recall what names he called you? Do you recall what he said?
I heard at this time nagging bitch all the time. Called me a cunt. He even said that he made a mistake.
Good day, cunt.
With me, and
You Aussies are gonna love that one.
that he didn't want to. That when we touched back down, he'd get rid of me, and I'd go back to. He said some disgusting things to me. I don't know if I need to repeat it.
Okay, let's go. Michelle, can you bring up Defendant's Exhibit 1090?
You kind of do need to repeat it, though.
You
You're
indicated, I think, that he passed out at the end of that. Did you take this picture?
I did.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 1090.
No objection, Your Honor. Thank you.
1090 in evidence. You can publish.
Thank you. And where was Mr. Depp when you took this picture?
He was passed out with his head in a table in the hotel room, in our hotel room, not the kids' hotel room, in Tokyo, on that press tour.
All right. Now I'm going to take you to August 2013. What, if any, discussions did you start having with Mr. Depp about moving in with him?
I get checkmated?
Well,
what happened? Oh, shit, I was not paying attention.
After this,
Fucking hell.
I was getting close to his kids, and he had a stint of sobriety shortly after that, and it felt really good again. And shortly after that, he started suggesting that I let him rent my apartment for the vultures. That's what he called the press. And he said now that we were like a known couple, now that it was out in the press, that my apartment wasn't like safe effectively for me. And I had a modest apartment in Los Angeles. And so he started saying I needed to have security on me, or we'd rent out the neighboring houses because of the vultures. And it was a conversation. And then that conversation evolved into I should move in with him. Always wanted me to go with his security guards, wanted me to have his credit card. Obviously, I wouldn't accept that, but the conversation about moving in became, hard to resist because I was increasingly becoming a part of his life, and also loving his family and feeling like more stability would mean more stability with him and his struggles with drug and alcohol use. And I thought I would minimize some of the jealousy and insecurity that he had. It was hard for me to justify working. Every audition, every meeting, every script I got was a negotiation or a fight. I had to justify it like as if I was saying, hey, let's have an open relationship. It was, and I thought that would be minimized if I could make him feel more secure. But, if we live together, certainly there would be more security, right? And that was my reasoning.
So you talked about still reading scripts and things. What, if anything, did you do differently in terms of pursuing your acting career?
Well, I've always been really independent, and I've never imagined not working. I've worked from the earliest time I can imagine. I come from, parents who worked until they literally couldn't anymore. I never imagined myself having to explain my job or justify my job, but I did, and I am independent, and I see myself as independent and strong-willed, and I had to bargain. Every time I'd get a script, it would be, I thought you weren't taking another job. I'd always say, are you kidding me? That's crazy. I have to work. I support my family. When I moved out to LA, I'd get a check for, a gig, $600 or something. I'd save half for me,
Add a
save
couple
half to my
zeros to that.
family. I kept having to justify taking work by saying, I'm supporting my parents, I'm supporting my
I wonder
sister,
if
I'm supporting
Johnny
my
was
family. I
more or
have to
less
work.
along the lines like why he's probably wanting her to stop working so she can be more like a stay-at-home,
And that
kind of
sounds
person.
really
He can obviously
romantic
support
in-
both of them,
in
right?
some way, but
there's-
it became a real fight. Every time
and she's
I
wanted
got
to
a
work, I
script,
guess.
it was what kind of, how I was dressing, what kind of behavior I'd have, how did I have a sex scene, and then I started saying, no, I won't take the sex scenes, or, I'll take the part where I don't play, that kind of character, or then I started minimizing the kinds of kissing scenes that I had, and eventually I had to change the wardrobe that I could have in the movie. I couldn't have a sex scene, but that all, it didn't happen all at once, of course. It was
Did you
little
imagine her
thing
getting like a
after
movie with
little
like
thing after little thing,
I don't know,
and eventually
Quentin Tarantino?
I found
and
myself
Johnny's like, hey,
pushing
no, you can't wear
as many
that.
scripts off my desk
Tell
as I could,
Tarantino to fuck
picking
off.
the ones that had minimal makeup, dress as conservative
It's
as
not happening.
possible, finding ways to minimize the scenes I had where I had a romantic involvement of any kind. It was a constant battle and negotiation.
So this is still her lawyer.
So
I'm
let me
guessing,
take
right?
you back.
Yeah.
Did you, as a result of your discussions with Mr. Depp about moving in, did there come a time that you did move in with him?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Thank you.
Yes.
Please, and let me ask you this. You've talked about penthouse, we've heard a little bit about penthouse appointments and suites. Could you just explain to the jury the different places that Mr. Depp had in Los Angeles and what they were called, just so we have some context here when we're going through all this?
It's a little confusing, I imagine. He had about, I think, 4 or 5 mansions in this beautiful, border of Beverly Hills and West Hollywood, and they were all in a cul-de-sac and we called it Sweetser because that was the name of the street. And there are 5 houses, I think 5 houses. It could be 4, all, effectively.
How do you not know?
He
That's
had the
4 or
whole
5.
street. Then he had
Imagine
about
having that
5
many mansions on the
penthouses
same street, though. You
downtown,
got 4 or 5
on the
mansions
same floor
in one
of the Eastern
cul-de-sac.
Columbia
Like, yeah,
building,
this is
which you've heard about,
mine.
the
This is my
ECB.
cul-de-sac. The hell?
And Sweetser was, Johnny's kingdom.
Damn right.
One of those houses was like a whole house was
I want a
his man
cul-de-sac.
cave. It's a
My own
studio.
cul-de-sac.
And it was where he made music and hung out. And we spent some time in there.
Imagine
but that
your
was
man cave
effectively
being one whole
Johnny's,
mansion.
place. And then there was the downtown places. And they were effectively empty, save for some furniture and one of Johnny's friends, Isaac, who you met. And he lived there at some point before Johnny and I eventually decided to move in together.
Let me just stop you there. I just want to make sure we're clear. Are we talking about the penthouses or are we talking about Sweetser?
Isaac lived in the penthouses.
Okay.
The rest of them were pretty much empty. And my
She's
best
just
friend,
conflated. She's saying
who
so
I was
much
very, very, very,
that it's
very
getting
close
confusing
to,
even to her own lawyer.
went
Her
to
lawyer
break up,
asked her a
and
simple
he
question
very
about these
kindly,
5 or 4 houses on the end of the street,
insisted
or mansions,
on
whatever.
moving her into this
She's, like, talking about
penthouse.
the
And of
penthouses,
course,
talking
she
about Isaac.
said no for the first few times, but he insisted and said they were empty and he would love to have her move down there. And he very kindly moved my best friend downtown. Problem is,
Rocky?
Yeah, Rocky Pennington. But the problem is it's like 30, 45 minutes from West Hollywood where my place was, which we call Orange at the time.
Okay. So when did you move into the penthouses?
Shortly after he moved Rocky, my best friend, into the penthouse. So she was in one of these empty-ish apartments, and somewhere around that time, actually agreed to move in with him and give up my place, although that made me pretty nervous, to be honest. But we were in this relationship that was very serious, and we were constantly traveling. Also, as another part of it is we were in LA for a matter of days or weeks. I'd go do a job, he'd go do a job, I'd come back for a photo shoot or a red carpet, go on a location, go visit him on a location. And there was an incredible amount of travel and movement. So we weren't really, again, living the day-to-day that you might normally with a partner, where you have a home and you move in together and you have one home. We didn't have that. It was
Okay.
very different.
I'm going to take you to September of 2013. What were you filming at that time? London Fields?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
I was filming London Fields. I just started.
All right. Did there come a time that you became engaged to Mr. Depp?
Well, yeah, it was difficult because in that role was a very difficult role. I mean, every time, every scene that involved sexuality or romance was like, I'd look at that on the page and it felt like I'd feel my gut tighten because I knew it was going to be an issue. But Johnny dropped me off. I gave him the script. I sent him pictures of what I was wearing in my wardrobe fittings. I sent him everything. I shared my script with his team, and the fighting eventually kind of minimized. It was clear I was going to do this job, and I told myself I had to do this job. And Johnny had to go to London, I think, for some pre-production stuff for a movie he was going to do a smaller part in. I think it was called. I think this was Into the Woods, is my best guess. So he dropped me off in London, and when he dropped me off in London, we had a few days at this hotel that we first, consummated our relationship in. As when we were on the London press tour, and our relationship developed. That was the same hotel, and we were in this same room, which is a Johnny like to be in the same room. And it was really sweet. He got down on one knee and said, I want you to be my girl forever, my woman, my girl. I want you to be the rest of my life. Say yes to me. He said he wanted to spend every...
He just took a deep breath.
Every day.
It's like, man, that was a mistake.
He promised me that every day when I woke up, that I would wake up and he would make me smile at least once.
Oh, that's just gonna say make me
that would
breakfast.
be his goal.
Like, damn.
And, you know, I looked into his eyes and I saw my future, hope, you know, like blind hope. I was so in love. It was one of the most, I can't describe that kind of joy, you know. I thought, you know, if we were married, then this is real. This is real. This isn't a thing of, this isn't chaotic and this will change. You know, I had so much hope in that moment. And I just said to him over and over again, are you serious? Are you real? Are you serious? Are you sure? Because he didn't have a ring. So I thought, is this an impulse thing? You know, my experience, Johnny, could be very impulsive. And he said over and over again, be my woman forever. I want you to be my wife, my wife, my wife. I, of course, cried. And we had a wonderful evening, and he left shortly after, and I was, like, the next day I had to go to work, and I couldn't tell anyone, and I wasn't sure. Part of me was worried that he didn't mean it, or, you know, or that he wasn't sure. I just didn't want it to be an impulse thing, so I didn't want to mention it. I want to bring it up. I didn't want to. And I kind of I walked around for a few days like I had butterflies under my skin. And then he brought my dad out to London with my best friends. And my dad told me, you know, Johnny has asked me permission for your hand in marriage. And I felt like the luckiest woman in the world.
So while you were filming London Fields and Johnny had gone back to L.A., what, if any, issues did you have with him on fraternizing with the
What's up,
cast?
Cats, how you doing, buddy?
I'm going to
awesome.
ask, Michelle, can you pull up Defendant's Exhibit
doing, man?
188, please?
I'm really bad at chess, and I'm trying to fucking beat a 600 rated bot. I'm struggling.
Your Honor, I'm going to object
Listening
on
to
hearsay.
this trial, trying to
Your Honor,
keep
I'm
my
going
sanity.
to, let's pull up 188A. I've redacted everything but what Mr. Depp says.
All right, let me
On
just take a look
188A.
at 188A.
That's submission against interest.
Yeah.
Do you have that? You don't have it? Give that a minute while they're working on
What's
that.
up, Steve? How you doing, buddy?
Can you tell us?
Yeah, it's
what
5:20 in Australia. I
transpired
literally just looked up the
between you and
time
Mr.
in
Depp
Melbourne and
when
what
you
time it
wanted
was.
To do something with a cast member.
It's early morning over there.
So,
It's
as I said, he
2:20
came to
over here in
London
Texas.
for his own work, and also dropped me.
2:20 in the afternoon.
In London, where I had to be for a few months to film this
How you
movie.
doing, Steve?
And he asked me to marry him.
Have any of you guys been
Best
keeping
friends
up with
my
this
dad.
trial at all?
They left.
I haven't really been keeping up with it. I've got,
And
whatever
shortly
the
after
media
they
has been
left,
saying, and then kind of
my
been keeping an eye on what other people have been saying
co-star,
about it. But
one of my co-stars invited me to
just started
go
watching
to
a little bit of the
concert with
trial,
some of the
and
cast
it's
to kind of break the ice. And
been
I'll
interesting.
be working with them for the next few
got
months.
almost 500,000 people watching it. It's
I-
crazy.
I'd already,
It's 500,000 people
I already
watching
knew
one
I
trial.
couldn't
It's
like
crazy.
be photographed, even if it was platonic. I couldn't be photographed with men or women that other people could possibly spin as romantic. I had learned that, but in January, the hard way, So I asked him permission if I could go to this concert with the cast. And I said, Johnny, that like, he's my co-star.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
Don't tell us what the co-star said. Just tell us what your communication was with Mr. Depp.
Objection, hearsay. Her communications are hearsay.
Ooh.
I'll sustain the objection.
I'm not sure I understand.
If you want to approach, that's
Yes.
I like this young lawyer from Depp's side. She's very spunky. She's very like alert and on top of it. She's ready to go. You can hear it in her voice. She's like, objection. Nope, objection. Like she's ready. She's on it. But you gotta imagine he's got the best legal team, right? Like ever. I mean, Jesus, it's got to be stacked, right? Dude's got 5 mansions at the end of a cul-de-sac. He's got his own. He owns a cul-de-sac. His man cave is a mansion. All right, you got to think he's got the best. Look at this. Look at this young lady here on the left in the tan. Dude, she's like, no. This other lawyer on the right's like, I need to go back to law school because I don't know what the hell's going on right now. What's happening? Did I miss something? Cats, you haven't either? You're just randomly here? Well, hey, I'm glad you randomly found me. How'd you randomly find me? Searching through live streams or what? But, yeah, it's nice to have you, man. Always fun to have somebody pop in and have a chat. These streams can get a little bit, I don't want to say boring, but, quiet when people aren't chatting in the chat, so. The more the merrier. All right. You're still muted. What the hell?
That if I accepted the invitation and went out to a concert, that the engagement would be off, that the relationship would be off.
Yeah, Steve, I know you've been sub for a while. I've seen you here before.
Foolish, naive, for
Glad to see you back, man.
thinking that people could invite me to a concert in a platonic way. I tried to say that it was fine.
Objection, hearsay.
She's testifying about what Mr. Depp said. I don't understand.
all right. I'll overrule that objection.
Please continue.
Yeah, he said I was foolish and naive, that no one could invite me to. How could I be so dumb to think that somebody could just invite me to a concert? Why would they want to hang out with me? Obviously, it was because they wanted more from me, and that I probably wanted more too. I was basically asking for it. You're going to go backstage. What are you going to say to the band? And then I know how this plays out, and who's the other girl going to be there? And how could you be so stupid? How could you be so foolish? You're more naive. You should be smarter than this. And I apologized. That whole evening, I think for a few hours, I spent on the phone with him, texting, calling, we're talking, hanging up. He'd hang up on me, be upset, and then send me cryptic messages about my foolishness. And, I'm already doing a movie where I play this,
Cats,
character.
I know what you're saying. I mean, what it sounds like to me, like my whole, like what she's saying, all this crap she's saying right now, it doesn't matter. It really has nothing to, it has no bearing on anything, in my opinion. So basically, Johnny, I'm just gonna mute this for a second. Johnny's just suing her for defamation. There's not like a civil or a criminal case or anything. He's basically saying you've cost me millions of dollars by slandering my name, making up lies, doing interviews about me, lying with no proof of anything, and costing me a bunch of jobs, and he's lost a lot of money. And that's why he's suing her. So all this crap she's saying is just like sympathy. She's just trying to save face and make herself look like the victim in front of all these people so that she doesn't lose this case and have to pay him a bunch of money. He's not going to jail or anything like that, but it's I don't know. Here's the thing. Like, Depp could be this type of person, right? He could be this guy who's very overprotective and all. He could be, all the things she's saying. That's fine. But what's crazy is there's no proof of any of it. She literally has no evidence of any of it besides what's coming out of her mouth. And Johnny has a ton of evidence of like all this crazy batshit nut stuff that she's done over the years, including, throwing stuff at him and causing his finger to get, or tip of his finger to get cut off and all this stuff that you hear about. So, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just about, did she cost him a bunch of money and for all the shit she said in the past? And is that worth the damages, I guess? I mean, that's from my understanding, that's what this whole case is about. So all this crap that she's saying, her lawyer is basically just trying to keep her on the stand as long as possible for sympathy for the jury. And, or I don't even know. Is there even a jury in this? I don't know how this, I'm not super like in depth with how the court system works. I don't know if there's juries in civil cases. There might be. I have no idea. I have to look into this more. But as far as defamation goes, it's basically it. I don't know. What this whole thing with her and her lawyer is just, what she's saying might be true. Some might be true, might be all true. I don't know. But it doesn't really matter in this form of this case. Because it's just her word.
Where did that take place?
In London.
Okay. And what, if any,
I'm excited to hear the cross-examination
with
Depp's lawyer.
For any part of that filming?
That's going to be just short and sweet.
For part of it, I happened to be in London already for the film I was just telling you about.
She's already been on the stand for like
and Johnny came to London shortly
like
after
to
film
she was on it yesterday,
his own movies. He did the smaller, I think it was a smaller role, in Into the Woods, and then he was filming Mordecai after that. So
what also is weird is like whenever she's explaining these stories, she's like hyper detailed about everything.
Into his house in London.
She's like hyper detailed about everything that, like, even stuff that doesn't matter. She'd be like, yeah, we know he said this, and right before he was eating a taco, and on that taco there was some beans, and I think it was black beans. It might have been pinto beans. I can't really remember what kind of beans were on the taco. Like, just shit that does not have anything to do with the story is being told, which I don't know. Just annoying. I don't know, something about her just annoys the hell out of me.
There were days when he wouldn't come home, or they couldn't get him up out of on set. He'd be asleep in his trailer, sleeping whatever he'd done the night before off. I remember he missed a few days of work that way. It struck me because in my experience in our job, you don't miss work. It doesn't matter how sick you are. You go. It's millions of dollars every single day they're filming, and I had not experienced someone who could effectively just control the set like that, to that extent. And one day he didn't come home, and I was worried sick.
Is it frozen on my end or their end?
I found out that he was in a hotel. Encouraged.
Oh, it's their end. Yeah.
That everybody.
I don't know if there's a jury in this defamation case or anything, or how that works per se, but defamation is basically saying you defamed me, you cost me my like
rock bottom, and
like even companies can sue for defamation. Like if you go make up like some crazy stories and you have somewhat of a following, or you have people that can take your word, you like lie up all the stuff about a company and you cost that company a bunch of money, they can sue you for defamation and be like, hey,
2013,
this is provably false and you provably cost us this much money because of it, and you can sue them for it.
Objection, leading.
What, if any, communications did you have with Lily Rose in November 2013?
Objection, calls for hearsay, leading.
I'm asking what her connection was. I didn't ask what she said.
I'm going to sustain the objection if you want.
Okay.
It's got sustained.
November 2013. What, if any, interaction did you have with Lily Rose without saying anything she said?
Objection, hearsay.
It's interaction, Your Honor. I'm not asking for what she said.
If you can lay a foundation out.
Okay. Did there come a time in November 2013 that you saw Lily Rose?
Yes, they came to stay with us for some time in the winter. Yeah, around November, I believe, 2013.
When you said they, who are you referring to?
Johnny's kids, Jack and Lily Rose.
All right. And was there a particular incident that led to a disagreement with Mr. Depp?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
What, if any, interaction did you have
This
with
is
Lily
so
Rose that
comical.
led to an argument with Mr. Depp?
Objection leading.
Oh, this
That, what
lawyer
if
is
any?
getting shut down.
If we approach from
Oh yeah, the judge is not having this. The judge is like, nah, come on, guys, enough of this crap. Let's just come on. Let's sort this out. This is funny. I do enjoy watching court cases. Like they can be very like have like the very low points where it's like kind of like meh and boring, but there's some spicy bits in there. I don't know. This might not seem that like fun to most people, but I enjoyed that.
Did you have an argument with Mr. Depp relating to Lily Rose in November 2013?
Yes.
Can you please describe that?
There you go.
Well,
That's how you word it. It's all about wording.
I
It's all
di-
about how you word things.
I was.
What's up, Lior?
I was.
Is that how I say it? Lior?
You know,
Lior?
these kids were.
Lior? IL. I'm gonna call you IL.
I found them
It's
to be
easier.
these beautiful, wildly intelligent little weirdos in the best way. You know, they were. I was
shouldn't have done that.
falling in love with them, and you know they were in my life at that time, a short amount of time, but I loved it, and I started to feel very protective, and you know, Johnny's sobriety meant that he was there and then he wasn't. And the nature of our lives with the travel and work meant he was there and then he wasn't. And Lily Rose, at some point, had a crush on a you know.
Objection hearsay. And lack of
hearsay.
foundation.
I'll overrule for them.
Thank you. Please continue.
This argument happened because Johnny was. I didn't agree that this gentleman, it was a famous
good?
musician,
All right.
over the age of
Thanks, buddy.
18,
Thanks for being here.
spent the night at the house. And
Yeah, I'm
felt
playing chess.
protected
I'm not that good at chess, but I play it like every day.
over
I
Lily
just started
Rose and
playing it like a
concerned.
year and a half ago.
And
I enjoy chess.
naturally, they're not.
I
They
like
were
do
not
it
my children.
my
It's not
pastime.
my place, and I understand that. I know it's a sensitive subject, so I understand why Johnny got so upset with me. But that and the introduction of the weed with his daughter, she was so young, I just felt protective. Again, it's not my place. I understand that. And I made him really angry by weighing in on that.
Okay. Did there come a time that there was a family engagement gathering?
Yeah, that's right. Multitasking. I'm listening and playing.
Well, we celebrated Thanksgiving out in London. The kids were there. There was a stint of sobriety following how sick he got on set with Paul Bettany after one of his drug binges, and he kind of just came alive again. You know, he even like played a prank on me about having like relapsed when he hadn't relapsed. You know, it was. I started to kind of feel that with the kids being around. I did think that maybe this was it. We were on a good path, meaning to sobriety, that this was it. And our life was peaceful for a minute. You know, it went back to being wonderful. There were these moments that just felt so wonderful.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
All right. I'll just sustain the objection.
Okay.
Non-responsive.
Take us to the engagement. There was an engagement party, correct?
Then, yes, come Christmas of 2013,
Oh, that was a bad.
Johnny had rented this beautiful mansion in Malibu on the beach. It was gorgeous. And he brought my family
I don't know what to put in
out,
this game.
and his family was out, obviously, in LA. And we stayed in this rented mansion, and we're all together for the holidays, and one evening we were going to his mother's house. His mother, who you've heard about, was.
By the way, I started this. I started this from the beginning. It's live right now, but this was like 4 hours ago.
One evening we're going to have dinner.
I'm probably just going to kind of maybe skip through some of the bits. I don't know how much of this. I don't know if I'm going to stream the whole thing today, but we'll see.
Hearsay.
Sorry.
It wasn't an effort to prove the truth of the matter, but go ahead. Go past that. What did you do?
We went to Betty Sue's house, his mother's house, and
Here, let's
Johnny
look it up. Is there
proposed in front of our families in this big, surprise. He surprised me, got down on one knee, and I cried and hugged my mother and hugged his mother, and he gave me this enormous
I think
diamond ring, and
there is a jury. Okay,
it was a nice time.
Okay, I'm going to take you into January, February 2014.
Which would make sense because they're objecting to stuff, and
you employed a woman named Kate James.
They have to object because the jury can't use that; they have to disregard it.
Kate James
makes sense.
She was my assistant at the time.
She's fascinating. Yeah, she's
I hired her
annoyingly
sometime in 2012.
I'll be right back, guys.
And had as minimal contact with her as I possibly could. So.
And why is that?
She was difficult, troubled, and inconsistent. She drank on the job and stuff like that, and her behavior was
objection relevance
horrible.
She's already testified. Kate James has testified, and I think the bias. We can.
All right, I'll allow that. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. Please describe for the jury what job responsibilities Kate had and how you communicated with her, and kind of how that worked.
Objection compound.
Overruled.
Thank you.
We had minimal person-to-person interaction because I was hardly ever in LA. If I was there for a few days at a time. And Johnny and I kind of lived in this insular bubble anyway when we were together. But we would send emails, texts, and a lot of voice memos, voice notes. And, if I found that if I said, Kate, you left the car running with your doors open and your kids in the car on the street. You
objection,
need to move
hearsay.
She's not testifying. She's testifying about context.
Sustained objection. Next question.
All right. I'm going to ask you to take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 209.
Your Honor, I'm going to object on hearsay grounds.
All right.
It's still hearsay.
Ms. Hurd, did you? May I lay the foundation first? Yes. Ms. Hurd, did you communicate with Kate James by email in the ordinary course of your business?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you to take a look at Defendant's 209. Is this a communication that was between you and Kate James that was in the ordinary course of business with her as an employee?
Yes, it is.
So, Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 209. Business records exception.
Still hearsay, Your Honor.
Business record exception gets the business record, but it's hearsay. If there's hearsay involved inside the business record, there's still objection to hearsay.
Your Honor, the business records exception, I mean, I don't agree. I think that's the point that hearsay can
approach.
What, if any, communications did you have with Kate James about your issues with Mr. Depp?
Objection hearsay.
Your Honor, Ms. James has testified.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right, well, we can take that down, Michelle. In the February, I'm going to jump to February, March 2016. What, if any, communications did you have with Mr. Depp about a prenup?
Well, after the engagement, but before the engagement party, I started to.
All right, we're back.
I started to feel like it would make. I know that he earned significantly more than me. He's a successful actor. I wanted to eliminate any doubt in his mind and in other people's minds, so I brought it up to him and brought it up to my
lots of
therapist.
hearsay. I was kind of listening
Objection
to it.
hearsay.
She's just
Before.
saying she brought it up to her therapist. She's not saying what she said.
Depp's
But
lawyer
please
is trying to
focus
get
on Mr.
a lot of
Depp,
this
okay?
evidence just even thrown out before it's introduced.
Johnny said he
to
would
the
tear
jury.
it up. He said, if you ever brought one up to me, or if I ever saw one, got my hands on it, I'd tear it up. Only way out of this is death. Only way out of this is death.
Well, that's kind of the
And
description of marriage, right? Like, it
I
sounds
thought
bad,
it's-
but that's like in marriage, you say, till death
I
do
thought
us
we'd
part,
like-
right?
I didn't
Yeah,
care either way, but I did feel that it would eliminate suspicion or doubt, and it would make things easier. And I told him over and over again, are you sure? Are you sure? Maybe we should do this. And one time he said to me, he's like, kid, are you already thinking of how you're getting out of this? Are you already planning to get out of this, kid? You already planning on leaving? It was around the same time as the moving in together conversation. It was.
She's making Johnny Depp sound like a very paranoid person, right? Like, from the story she's telling, he sounds like, he's very paranoid, which would actually make sense. If, you're that famous, you're that wealthy, I'm sure a lot of people are just trying to, take advantage of you, right? Now, he may or may not be that kind of person, right? But to be honest, it's kind of irrelevant to this case. Like, where is the evidence for any of this? Just your stories.
While the decorations and the remodeling had been done on Sweetser. And so these conversations were kind of happening about how to build our future together and how we were going to move forward together. And I would have forgotten about the extent that we had those conversations early on in the engagement if it hadn't have been for my therapist's notes.
I'm sorry, if it hadn't been for your what?
If it hadn't been for my therapist's notes, which were
Okay.
taken at the time when I was talking to her about this and my conversations with
Objection
Johnny.
hearsay.
Okay.
I'll
We'll
sustain the
We'll move
objection.
on. Okay. Let's take it to March 2014.
Hearsay?
Did there come a time
Hearsay.
there was an engagement party?
I believe it's just hearsay.
Yes, so it was March
What am I doing?
2014.
I ain't paying attention.
Please describe for the jury.
We had an engagement party, and we decided that when we did get married, we'd have a small wedding, something intimate. But, our lives were kind of big. His life was extremely big. And we needed to incorporate, we wanted to have a bigger engagement party than a wedding, and kind of get our guests in, our family, our friends, and have a big event of it, as opposed to making the wedding something that was big. And so we kind of put it on the engagement party and had a bunch of people, a lot of friends, business acquaintances, a lot of family. I had all of my family friends and my childhood friends come out for it, and I even invited my therapist. It was a big event.
Okay. And describe what took place at the engagement party.
Well, we walk in together and we took some pictures and said a few hellos, and then Johnny disappeared upstairs in, I guess it's like a coat room or something. It was in a big abandoned building that was rented out for events. And he disappeared upstairs almost the entire party, I would say. It was kind of came down at the end when we were leaving, and came down once because he was at the time sharing drugs with my dad.
Objection. Speculation. Lack of foundation.
How do you know that he was sharing drugs?
I feel
with
like
your
I just
dad?
heard the other
was
lawyer
there.
whispering to the lawyer who's talking.
I watched it.
Please continue.
Oh.
My dad at the
Should I say
time
it?
was on the same, was addicted to the same thing Johnny was. And so my dad had, either my dad ran out or Johnny ran out. I can't recall which of the two ran out, but there was a, you know, they needed more, of course, and had to leave the party. My dad actually left with Johnny's security to go get more drugs from
Objection.
West
Calls for
Hollywood.
speculation.
How do you know that?
They told me.
Hearsay.
Sustain the objection.
Okay.
And they left to
He
go
sold me. It's
whatever,
like,
and
yeah,
then
it's
they
not gonna
came
work.
back with drugs, and
Yeah,
everything was
coke
okay.
room.
In
They got a
terms
mansion
of
just for
the-
their coke. Imagine
the
that.
withdrawal
No, I don't know.
symptoms of the, I don't know what you call it at that point, but
She's acting like she's
he
never done
still,
drugs. She's totally
stayed
done these drugs
upstairs.
with them before.
And
Are you
when,
referring to Mr. Depp?
Just
yes, I am.
she was like
So
using like all of these
shortly after
terms
that,
for
I
the
tried to
drugs
get Johnny to
yesterday
go
that
downstairs,
she's very comfortable with using them, and
he
you'd only
just
use those
snapped at
terms
me,
if you've
just
been around
verbally,
it and probably used them
told me to
before.
shut the fuck up.
I know it's all hearsay. I don't know. I don't know.
And,
You know what I'm saying? It's hearsay.
I
Hearsay.
I remember talking to my mom about the irony of it.
Okay.
We were at an engagement party, but that was pretty much it for the engagement party. And I went downstairs and entertained guests and smiled and took pictures and put on a face and, you know, went about my evening.
All right. I'm going to take you to May 2014, the Met Gala. Could you please tell the jury what a Met Gala is and what's involved in that?
Objection. Compound.
Damn.
Overruled.
She's got all these
Met Gala
fancy
is a big
objections.
event, annual event, celebrity event in New York. It's a fashion event, but it's just a major red carpet event.
Oops.
And
Why is
you have
that
to be
bad?
invited, and it's kind of
Oh, I see.
a thing, you know. And we were invited that year, and I had already gone for the previous year or two, and this year we were going to go together. And at some point in the evening, we're sitting across the table, and Johnny starts asking me about this woman. He thought I was looking at this woman in a sexual way, and I kind of turned it around on him and said that exact same
Objection.
thing.
Hearsay.
All right. It's context, Your Honor. This is context.
Sustain the objection.
Okay. Just say what Mr. Depp said then. I guess you
I'm
can't
so
tell
bad at
us
end
what you
games
said
and
to
chess,
him.
guys. I don't know what I'm
Okay.
doing here. I need to eat these pawns up. I know that. I just don't know how.
He was accusing me of flirting,
Oh, it's gotta go like one.
and that's how the argument started. I don't recall what other accusations I was fielding at that moment, but typically in my experience with him, it wasn't just one. So you'd make a point, and then he would go on to a different accusation. But I remember that what started it is this accusation that I had been flirting at this event. We get back to the hotel room, and Johnny shoves me and kind of grabs me by the collarbone area, like not really my neck, but top of my neck, top of my above my collarbone, below my neck. I think at that point, when we were still in the living room, I shoved him back, but I don't really recall too many specifics. I remember he threw a bottle at me. It missed me, but it broke the chandelier. And at some point, I remember maybe this was the shove that I was talking about, but at some point, Johnny and I are in a struggle in the living room, and he kind of like shoves me down on the sofa, and I get up, and I'm trying to get him off of me, and it's just stronger than me. I don't know how else to describe it. And at some point, he just whacks me in the face. And I had not, at the time, been, I I think that was the first time I was like, is this a broken nose? At the time, I was unsure what that feeling was.
See, like,
but
okay,
I
so
suspected I had a
here,
broken nose.
we'll talk about it after this one.
And other than that, I was relatively unscathed. But I remember my nose being swollen, discolored, red. And I took a picture of my face at some point and made a joke about it to my friend about how bad I looked compared to how the red
Objection,
carpet.
hearsay.
All right. It was not for the truth of the matter, sir.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Just
she
don't
still
say
sustained
what you told a friend, okay? Okay. Let's take you to the Adderall Diaries. When did you start
The
filming
Adderall
the
Diaries?
Adderall Diaries?
Believe May.
Fucking
I
Adderall
filmed another
Diaries.
movie
Sounds like a Netflix
in New York,
series.
March, April, May. I went straight from that movie to another movie, an independent film with James Franco. The one I had
Ooh,
previously
Frankie
shot was with
Franco.
Christopher Walken. That's right. Okay, so I went from one to the other and saw Johnny in these, in between. Like if I got a long weekend or, I'd fly home to be with him and then fly back. It was kind of like that.
Fly back from where? Where were you filming those?
In New York.
Okay. And where was Mr. Depp at that time?
Johnny was in LA at the time and then eventually went on location for his movie, Black Mass, in Boston.
So you were in New York and Mr. Depp was in Boston at some point?
Eventually, by May 2014. That's it.
All right. And what, if any, discussions or arguments did you have with Mr. Depp relating to James Franco in that time frame of May 2014?
Oh, here we go. Bringing up the dirt. What happened with Frankie Frank? You gotta tell.
It's a nightmare.
Let's tell the story.
I wanted to do this independent film. I liked the story. I liked the character. I told him I'm not going to wear makeup in the thing.
Objection, hearsay.
Because she said I told him. You can't say I told him.
Ms. Bitter, if we could approach, please.
All she has to do is just say, instead of saying I told him, she just has to be like, I said I'm not going to wear. Well, maybe that won't work either for hearsay. She could say I had this idea that I wasn't going to wear makeup. She just has to word it differently, because whenever the words I told so and so or I said this, it becomes hearsay because there's no proof of it, right? Really? So like, you can tell a story, but the minute you'd be like, "Oh, I said this in the past," that's not gonna fly. That's what Johnny Depp's lawyer's getting all up in arms about. Yeah, she's an actress. She was in, I think she was in Aquaman. She's been in a few things, but yeah, this is just Hollywood, man. This is just the fucking Hollywood drama right here. That's why 500,000 people were watching this trial live.
So tell the jury what Mr. Depp said.
He was mad at me for taking the job with James Franco. He hated James Franco. And
He hated
was
James Franco.
already accusing me of kind of secretly having a thing with him in my past since we had done Pineapple Express together.
Okay. So I'm going to take you to the Boston plane incident. We've heard about that earlier, May 24. Can you please describe for the jury
I don't know how to
took
mate with
place
a queen and a
on
knight,
May
so I'm not even going to try.
24 relating to the plane incident?
Well, I had spoken to
shit,
Johnny.
I have to.
He's in Boston. I'm in New York, and I spoke to him he had already been upset with me and accused me in like many arguments about not telling him about scenes that I had. If I had a kissing scene, any sort of romantic scene, and I wasn't explicit about what I was going to do, then I was accused of having withheld information and hiding it from him. So I didn't want the fight, of course. I didn't want the argument, but I had to kind of eggshell tiptoe around how to tell him when I had any sort of scene like that. And I did tell him in this occasion.
Objection, hearsay.
We need to stay with what Mr. Depp said, okay?
Okay, so he was upset with me, but he didn't sound coherent so much on the phone. He was yelling at me about how could you tell me this? How could you tell me this when I'm filming, when I have this scene that I'm doing? How could you tell me this when I'm working? Obviously, I couldn't tell him any other time because we were both filming, and I told him as soon as it was relevant, but he kept saying, how could you tell me this? How could you just tell me this? And it was like I had told him I was having an affair or something, you know, was that angry at me. But he kind of started to sound less connected to reality as these like arguments would happen on the phone. This is in one day. Eventually, he hangs up on me in the conversation, screaming at me. I talked to his assistants. I won't say what they said, but I had conversations and felt encouraged that I could continue on with the plan, which was for me to get on the plane, go to Boston, pick him up, and we would go back to LA for his daughter's birthday. I was nervous because the conversation I had had with him, and he was so upset with me on that conversation, but I figured I assumed he had passed out and that he would have been kind of sobered up the next day, assuming that the work would mean that he felt pressured to kind of pull it together. And I get on the plane. He sent the plane, so I assumed he's not that mad at me. He's over it. We're moving on. He's sobered up. There had been a lot of talk about a sober plan, like a full detox, a full recovery, a doctor, a whole plan. You know, there were talks of that following what had happened in London. So I was feeling like, okay, well, maybe we're here. And I get on the plane, it touches down and the SUV pulls up and it sits on the tarmac for a very long time. He knows I'm on the plane.
You guys want to keep watching her tell this story? Should we like move ahead a bit?
Started to anticipate that things weren't as I hoped, meaning that he was sober and had slept it off. And I'm sitting on the plane for a very long time waiting for him, and he finally opens the door, and I see him get out of the SUV, and I can guess by how he's moving, how he's walking. I didn't realize at the time I had already become really sensitive to these little changes because my life changed depending on what he was on. And he gets on the plane, and I just knew in every cell of my body something was wrong. And he comes straight up to me, doesn't say anything to me, but is looking at me. He's got these glasses on, and he takes them off in this kind of aggressive manner and sits down across from me, not in the usual spot. We kind of have our places on his plane, you know, where you get used to sitting. And I remember I got up and moved to accommodate him getting by so he could sit in the normal seat as per usual. He didn't. He sat across from me.
This is my point. She keeps talking about, like, oh, what normal seat? It's like,
remember the exact sequence of it.
What seat you're sitting in. It's not relevant.
We take off, and at some point he's asking me what's wrong with me. What do I have? Do I have something to tell him? Do I have something to tell him? You want to talk to me about your day yesterday? And then it gets, I already know that he's drunk. I already know he's using, he reeks of weed and alcohol. I mean, his breath smelled so bad, and I could anticipate that there was a no-win situation here. There was no me talking myself out of this or talking him down or any, a lot of my arguments and my involvement in them are me trying to diffuse by explaining or
Objection, non-responsive.
She's telling the story, Your Honor.
The story is irrelevant. I mean, yeah.
So he is asking me questions, and I know to not engage. I was polite. I made sure to answer minimal amount of, the minimal amount that I could. I moved slowly. I was trying to be polite, but not engage because there was no win. And he kept going, kept asking me. Eventually he went from, do you have something to tell me, to, you want to tell me how much you liked it? Tell me, did he slip a tongue? It got worse and worse, just more. It went from asking me about how my kissing scene went or how the sex scene went to asking me what James Franco had done in the scene, to being really explicit about my body. He was talking about he was saying really disgusting things about my body, about how I liked it, how I responded, and then he started just straight up taunting me. I know you liked it. He called me a go-getter. He called me a slut in front, and also this is happening with security and his assistants on the plane. And I remember I felt I struggle to be able to tell you how embarrassed I was, because he was speaking to me in front of people in this way, asking me if I liked it and if I was wet, and why I wasn't looking at him, and that was proof I wasn't looking at him. That was proof
play chess,
that I was asking for it. Did I ask James to do this and this to me? And how about if he does those things to me? Insert sexually explicit descriptions of what he accused me of wanting or deserving. And I, at some point in this, get up and move to the front of the plane. And I remember getting up so slowly. I didn't want to aggravate him. I didn't want to give him any excuse to pounce on. I didn't want to upset him. I didn't want him to flip a switch and get worse. I just remember very slow movements, and I slowly get up and move to the front of the plane, and he starts throwing things at me. Ice cubes, utensils.
Ice cubes?
He's calling me a go-getter, and then an embarrassment, talking about what an embarrassment I am. I don't know how many times I moved seats. I wish I did.
Oh, this is what I wanted to bring up earlier. When she was talking about like the time where like he hit her and all this stuff, I'm wondering if that's the same, because from my understanding there was the whole reason this court case is like happening is because she did like interviews and stuff where she was, telling these stories about Johnny Depp abusing her. And there was no proof of it, but it was her story. And I'm wondering if that was the same story that she was telling these, she's doubling down and saying those same stories again in this court. Obviously she's embarrassed. She says she was lying. She's going to lose this case, but do that to me in front of people. So I'm wondering if that was the same story she was telling these other interviewers, and that's how this whole thing got started. Because he lost like the Pirates of the Caribbean job and all this shit, and lost a lot of money over the defamation. And like I said, it could be true. I don't know. Who knows? I'm not saying Johnny Depp's a great guy or anything. I don't know. And I get up slowly again, but it's all about what you can prove, right? And he can clearly prove that she cost him a lot of money, and she's also been abusive. She's very abusive. Proof of that, actually, like the actual proof of her being abusive towards him. Now, chances are they're abusive to each other. It sounds like an abusive relationship overall between the two of them, like mentally, physically.
What are you gonna do about it?
And it just sounds like they do not belong together. It's very toxic, very bad relationship.
I just
But
stared.
this at the end of the day, it's just a court case about did she cost Johnny Depp a lot of money by saying things that she cannot prove.
It felt like there was a blackness in his
And
eyes.
I think that the evidence shows she did, but this is just a long story from her just trying to make her sound like the victim and get on the jury's good side, really.
As I'm walking away, slowly, trying not to be, I was being very deliberate about my movements, wasn't saying anything, I wasn't engaging. I am walking away from him slowly, and he tells me to hurry the fuck up. Hurry up. And I just look at him one more time, wanting to penetrate the monster to see the man that I love underneath that. The man
Penetrate
I
the
loved.
monster. Penetrate the monster.
And he tells me to hurry up again. And I pull my gaze away from him. I walk away from him. My back is turned to him, and I feel this boot in my back. He just kicked me in the back. I fell to the floor. I caught myself on the floor, and I just felt like I was looking at the floor of the plane for felt like a long time. And I thought to myself, I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't believe half the shit she
Did he
says.
just kick me?
I just like her vibe comes off very
No one said anything.
disingenuous.
No one did
I don't know.
anything. It was like you could hear a pin drop on that plane.
I don't know.
You could feel the tension,
Again,
but
I don't
no
know
one did
exactly,
anything.
if he kicked her or not, but my point is I think
And
she's
I
lying
just
about a lot of stuff
feeling
in this
so
case.
Embarrassed.
Let's get those
I
vibes.
felt so embarrassed that he could kick me to the ground in front of people. And more embarrassing, I didn't know what to do about it. I got up and
Like
I
this,
just
like is she crying or is
walked
she
to the
not
front of the
crying?
plane.
What
I
is she
sat
doing?
down,
Just seems
and I
it
just
seems fake.
looked out of the window. Jerry Judge security and my friend both kind of under their breath asked me, "Are you okay?"
Objection, hearsay.
I spent the rest of the time looking out of
Here,
the
Stand the
window.
objection.
Pin drop when that happens.
And-
Hearsay. You're an addict, but you never laid a finger on your ex.
Did there come a time that you
I mean,
tape recorded Mr.
People-
Depp on this plane?
like I said, I'm not saying Johnny Depp's a great guy. He clearly has his issues. She clearly has her
wanna
issues.
sit
They do
here
not
and
belong
say
together.
that
It's a
I was-
very abusive, toxic relationship. I mean,
Like,
I don't think it takes a
I'm
rocket
telling myself
scientist
I
to
needed
figure
to
that
leave
out.
him.
And there's clearly
But-
a lot more that plays into it when you're that
As it got
famous, you have
worse,
that
he
much money,
demanded the oxygen tank from
there's
the
that much
flight
publicity and
attendant.
everything. And
Flight attendant, excuse me.
I wouldn't want to be
And he continued to drink.
either of
and
them, to
then
be honest. You know,
eventually,
screw that money or
started
anything with
howling
how that
like an animal
how this is going. No,
and passed out in the bathroom with the door locked. And was howling, and
this,
I
you know, and
at
this
some
happens to
point
a lot
pushed
of people.
record on
You
my
know, not
phone
just famous people.
because
There's toxic relationships where it's the
there
man
was
and the
that
woman
5%
that are both just abusive
part
to
of
each
me.
other. But it's usually always
Objection,
like 99% of the time the man
I
that
don't think it's
you know
non-responsive.
gets in
She's
trouble for it.
explaining what led up to her tape recording and why. I mean, I'll just, I mean, I can ask her,
Okay.
will that solve it?
Honestly, I don't know what
did
it
you
is.
Tape record.
I cannot stand this woman. I cannot stand
because I
Amber
knew that
Heard.
Johnny wouldn't remember what he had done. I knew he would not remember. And if
Calls for speculation.
Yeah, Hollywood's
She can
definitely
say-
poison.
She can say why she did it and what she thought.
But that last part.
That's true, man.
Don't say
100%.
I knew. Why did you tape record?
in my experience, when Johnny was that inebriated, he would not remember what he had done.
Calls for speculation.
How can that call for speculation?
I'll sustain the objection.
The
All
judge
right,
is siding
let's
with
go to
Johnny's
defendants
lawyer, too.
221,
Oh, it's so funny.
and I'm going to play 3 different parts for it.
The defense attorney is literally just
Your Honor, may we approach, please? Okay.
is literally just like, I don't know what's going on. How is that speculation? And the judge is like, speculation. Just keep moving on. Look at, you can see the lady in the back here. I'm laughing. Look at, they're all laughing. They love this. They're like, yeah, this is ridiculous. She has literally been on the stand for like what, 6 hours now total between 2 days, just telling a story. Right? That's it. And every time she's walking that line of hearsay, because it's just her word. It's, you know, it's not like, hey, here are the pictures and here's the video of him hitting me. Here is the, you know, all the evidence. Here's all my friends who saw it happen telling the story, right? No, it's just her telling the story. And then Johnny has literally pictures, video, what do they call it? Transcripts, all the stuff of her abusing him. And I don't know. It's just ridiculous. As far as law goes, it's ridiculous. Like it seems pretty cut and dry. I don't know. It's just me. And I'm a very new to all this this case here. I haven't seen a lot of it, but I don't know. From my understanding, it's not looking good for her. And I think what's worse for Amber, they're going to take a break here, I think.
So we're going to start with 221, and we're going to call it A, and that'll be 0 through 1.
I think what's worse for Amber Heard, I don't know how, wait, let's find out how much she's getting sued for. But she is literally, like, from my understanding, it seems like the court of public opinion is definitely in Johnny's side. It almost been worth just to pay him the money and not go through this whole trial and make yourself look like an ass. I don't know. How much is Johnny Depp suing Amber for? Okay, $50 million over an article she wrote in the Washington Post. Okay, that's right, in 2018. So, and I think in that article, she was talking about, you know, him abusing her. Yeah, alleged in 2016 was verbally and physically abusive to her. Yeah. Bruised her face by throwing a phone at her. He denied it and was never charged.
With the first one with 0 to 1 minute. And can you turn up the volume just...
I had to guess. They just got in a fight and they were throwing shit at each other. She fucking threw a lot of shit at him, and there's proof of that. Like, just an abusive relationship between the two of them. They should have just never been together. Wait, what's going on? Hold on. Is that Johnny? He's drugged up. And keep in mind too, like, Johnny Depp's heard all of this, right? Like, they both sides have all the evidence. They've heard everything.
And then the second one is from 250 to 320, 30 seconds.
Listening to. It's not much there.
221 is in evidence. All of 221 is already in evidence.
So may I play the third one then, and then we can take the break?
Yes.
Thank you. That would be at 9.
You can play all of it if you'd like. That's fine, thank you.
I think that'll torture the jury if I do that, Your Honor. 9:30 to 10, just 30 seconds more.
Yeah. We're gonna skip through to past the break, see what happens here.
Say present sense impression and
All right, we ready for the jury then?
yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Arrived once you landed in LA.
I called for a cab, a car to pick me up, met me at the private airport, and I left. I got straight off the plane as soon as we touched down. Johnny had been saying what he would do to me once we got on the ground, and I didn't know how long this cycle would last, so I wanted to just get out of there. I went to a hotel and called my friends to join me, which was my coping strategy at the time.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to take a look at defendants 204.
If he did this, why is he not in criminal court? Well, again, there's no proof of it. I think.
Did you reach out to...
Yeah, there's no proof. Like, she never went to
hearsay,
the authorities or anything, from my understanding.
Your Honor, I would
And-
direct Your Honor's attention to the
And yeah,
first
and I'm
one
pretty
in
sure Depp
blue
already tried to sue her once
and the
for lying
third
about it,
one in blue,
about
and,
him,
I
and
would say
he
present sense impression and
lost. But now I don't know. He's,
the state of
with
mind
more
of that.
recent allegations, I guess she's written articles about him abusing her, and but that's the thing. It's like you make a good point. You know, like I don't actually. If she won in a criminal court case against Johnny Depp and he was found guilty of abuse or whatever, this whole trial would be null and void. Pretty sure, because we wouldn't need. You know, he can't really sue her for defamation if it's true, right? And the criminal case would prove it's true. So, yeah, she doesn't have anything. Like she's not actually going out at Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp's attacking her now because she's like out there in the world just basically talking shit about him. And she's famous enough that her talking shit is costing him job, you know, like movie roles, you know, I don't know, sponsorships or whatever he's lost, if he has those, but he's lost money, right? You know, if she was like me or you or anybody else talking shit and making up stuff about Johnny's not going to do anything about it, right? He's not going to care because but it's his ex, who's famous actress, going out and basically, even if it's true, there's no proof of it, and you can't just say things that you can't prove are true that are going to cost somebody a ton of money, right? I don't know. That's where we're at. And it kind of goes to this whole like Me Too movement thing, where it's like just believe all women no matter what, which I'm completely against, because of stuff like this. Like, you know, people get wrongfully locked up and go to jail for stuff they didn't do just because, you know, in the courts they like to believe all women, and the whole, you know, Me Too thing. And again, like if you abuse women and you know
205
and you're just an abusive person,
defendants
you
205
should be buried beneath the prison. But it's like, you got to have proof for your accusations. You can't just be guilty until proven innocent.
And this is a communication between you and Rocky Pennington, your best friend, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Objection, hearsay.
I don't know, if he actually was abusive as she describes, man, she should have got out of that relationship a long time ago, right? Or try to get evidence to the matter. But it's just a toxic relationship between the two of them, which makes for good drama and media coverage and publicity for the rest of the world to watch, apparently, right? People eat this shit up. I think too, it's like, is this for money? Yeah, Johnny Depp is suing her for $50 million. That's what this whole case is over, $50 million. Because she's been writing, she wrote articles like saying he did all this stuff to her with no proof or evidence. There was no court case saying, you know, like he provably did this or anything. She's just going out and saying it. And then people like Disney, who are ultra woke these days, who, you know, you say the wrong thing or you look, you don't fit the cookie cutter mold these days, they cancel you. So Disney kicked Johnny out of Pirates of the Caribbean because of the articles and allegations she made against him with no proof. And so he's suing her for it. He's like, no, hell no. You're costing me my job. You're costing me my livelihood. You're costing me my career based off of your lies. Or maybe not lies, but your stuff that you can't prove, that you've never been able to prove. And he's suing her for it with stuff that he can prove.
So 205 with redactions is in evidence.
That's all it really matters in court is
Thank
what
you,
you
Ryan.
can or can't prove, right?
May we
At the end of the day, it's
publish
not really
the
about
Thank you.
did you or did you
So,
not do it. It's can you prove whether or not
Rocky,
you
on
did or
this
did not
is
do it.
Rocky Pennington, your best friend, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And when did you send this communication to Rocky?
Once I had touched down in LA.
Okay. And you said, I'm not good. What did you mean by that?
That I needed help. That I was scared. I was scared of what had just happened to me. I was scared of what was going to happen to me. I was scared if I left him. I was scared if I didn't. And I needed help. I just needed support. And I didn't feel safe going home. I still had my place in Orange. He had keys. I was scared.
Did you text your mother and your father about this incident?
Objection, hearsay.
If you want to.
What, if any, communication did you have?
No, she's not
with
suing
your
him.
Mother or
He
your
is suing
father
her. She's
following
trying to
this
like
incident?
literally.
Objection, hearsay.
Like,
Sustain that objection.
She's up here
Let's go to
trying to
defendants
not
222.
lose 50 mil. Fake crying and all this stuff to try and win over the jury.
All right, you want to approach? That's fine. Thank you.
Trying to win over the sympathy of like, oh, he's an abuser. I'm a victim. That's what she's really trying to play up. So she doesn't have to pay him 50 mil. This isn't like a criminal case again, about how like who abused who. She's trying to play the victim so that hopefully the jury feels bad for her and doesn't side with Johnny, because the evidence is overwhelmingly in Johnny's favor. From my understanding, I could be wrong. There could be people watching this, watched every minute of it, tell me like, no, you're wrong, son. But from everything I've seen and heard and kept up with on this case, that's my understanding. Yeah, that's why you don't make up shit and talk shit about people without proof of it. I mean, it goes like there's a line though, right, between like free speech and actual defamation though. So she would just been like, "Oh, Johnny's a bad guy. I hate Johnny. I don't like Johnny. He can be a real asshole. He's a dick. Blah blah." Like that's can't
What,
really.
if any,
that doesn't matter. You can't get somebody for that.
communications did you have with Kate James following the Boston plane incident?
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor, if we go to 224.
Hearsay.
Okay. 224. All
My argument would be business records exception.
right, you want to come forward? We can do it.
I should have been a lawyer. I like this legal stuff. It's fun. I think I'm too antsy for the courtroom, though. I'd be like twiddling my thumbs too much. I'd be like playing chess on my phone while court's going on. I think Johnny's playing tic-tac-toe right now. If I get the X's in all the corners, I have a better chance of winning. Bro, his lawyer's tie, though, I just noticed it. That's an ugly-ass tie. I don't like that tie. That yellow is like the same color yellow as that notepad. It's weird. And Johnny looks like he's drinking piss. Either apple juice or piss. Either way. Why? Either way, it's weird. Why are you putting apple juice in a water bottle? Okay, or why are you drinking your own piss? I wouldn't put it past them though. It's Hollywood. They do weird shit. Okay. Don't sue me, Johnny. I'm just saying. Like, what's in the bottle? It's bugging me. I love how they have to take the labels off the bottles though, because they can't show brand sponsorship or brands on on the media coverage of it.
What, if anything,
So
did
funny.
you do the evening of the 24th
The lady in the back
of
didn't get the
May?
memo, but she turned it around.
I reached out to friends and family, asked for support.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
I'm surrounded myself with them, with that.
Herd's lawyer needs
What,
to
if
coach her
anything, did you
better
do
on how to answer
for
these questions.
Lily Rose's birthday.
Anytime Lily Rose has brought up
That's why we
objections,
had
come flying.
gone back to LA. Johnny was sick.
What's
after
up,
getting
Slayer?
passed out on the
Mooey,
plane.
Mooey, how you
So I
doing?
took her to
Welcome, buddy.
dinner.
Good to see you.
We went to Benihana's.
Ooh, Benihana's. I like Benihana's.
It was, again, put on my smile, took her out, tried to make her feel loved, and celebrated for her birthday. And then I booked a flight out to New York, to go back to New York, obviously without Johnny.
I'm going to ask you to now turn to 225. And Your Honor, I'm going to be referring to the last two blue spots on that page with the state of mind. Mental condition.
All right.
It doesn't, it's still hearsay, Your Honor. May we approach?
Yeah, you want to approach? I just want-
Man, this is the trouble when you only have your own, like, just the storytelling aspect of this. Like, there's not. You're basically just letting Herd go up there and just tell a long, drawn-out story. And kind of, I think the problem is, too, you're losing the jury. If I don't know, if I was sitting up on that jury, I would be falling asleep. I'd be like, what does this have to do with anything? that would be me up there. I don't know. I'm already lost in her story. I can't keep track of the timeline or anything with what she said, really, to be honest with you. It's all like Johnny bad, I feel bad, I'm scared, I feel bad, boo-hoo. Like that's just like she's the victim. That's the vibe I get. But that's not really relevant to the case here. I don't know. So I don't know what the point of all this is between her and her lawyer. Like what the point they're trying to make or what they're trying to do with the jury. Like, because there's always strategy that goes along with this, right? The jury, like, sometimes you're going to keep it short. So I bet you when Depp's lawyers do cross-examination, it'll be less than 5 minutes or something. It'll be short and sweet. I would be hard-pressed to imagine it be otherwise. Maybe it won't, but short, sweet, let the jury just be like, oh, okay, bam, boom, that's all I needed. There's the evidence. There's boom, bada bing. Easy does it.
Your
Something
Honor,
they
we're
can
going
just
to
digest
vote on
quickly.
this day.
First line, Your Honor,
Okay.
is all I understand in Your Honor's ruling, but I think
If you want to come forward, that's fine.
Heard's lawyer is not happy right now. She is just, you can see in her body language, she's like dragging her. It's like, oh, come on. Really? Come on. Yeah, it's not looking good. I think she said too, she's like, I understand, you know, I get your ruling, I respect your ruling, but I don't agree with it, Judge. Can we talk about this some more? What always blows me away though is like these lawyers are like at each other's throats in the courtroom, right? Bop, 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 bop. But then like I saw the other day, like one of the lawyers dropped a pen, the other lawyer like picked it up and was like polite. Like they're still like super nice and polite. It's just like, man, they battle it out in court. It's funny, but they don't seem to like dislike each other. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like after the court, you know, or the trial's over, like I'm surprised they don't just hate each other all the time. Like I'm surprised lawyers are starting at each other's throats all the time. I don't know. That's the one thing that's always baffled. Like, I think it's good, right? It's obviously a good thing that everybody's friendly afterwards, but how hard they're fighting in court. It's amazing to just see it just all like fall off right after it's done. And most lawyers seem to be pretty cool with one another. And maybe I'm wrong. If there's any lawyers out there watching that end up watching this, let me know. But you guys just like hate each other sometimes afterwards. But yeah, I'm sure there's some lawyer beef, you know. All right, while they're chatting, I'm gonna be right back and grab more coffee.
so. Tell us please tell the jury what you did then over that night, the next day, and at the hotel.
I cried a lot. Tried to surround myself with my friends and resolved to leave him. I felt powerless. Nothing I did made a difference. You know, on the plane, I was so careful.
Objection, non-responsive.
Please just tell us what you did, and you can tell how you feel, but don't go backwards, okay?
I tried to, the strength to commit to leaving him. I knew I had to. I knew nothing else would make a difference. So I got myself back to LA. New York. And started going to Al-Anon meetings every day. It's a support group for people who love addicts and alcoholics.
What, if any, communications did you have with Stephen Duders?
Objection.
Where I got this
hearsay.
mullet now.
Yeah,
And I think I'm getting rid of it soon. It's annoying me.
Let me ask it this way. What, if any, communications did you have with Mr. Duders?
Go and drink at the bar after? Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Mr. Depp.
That's good, though. I mean,
Objection,
that's really good.
hearsay.
I mean, it'd be bad if
Agency on
every
that,
lawyer hated each other.
we
There'd be
have
some
foundations
shady business
for
going
that.
on.
All right,
That's
let's
obviously a
go
good
to
thing.
229A.
I'd be like, I hate that motherfucker. Fuck that guy. You know.
And could you, without saying what the content is, can you tell us who this text message is with?
Johnny's assistant.
What's his name?
His name is Stephen Duders.
Okay. And what, if any, communication were you having with him following the Boston plane incident?
Objection. Hearsay. May we approach?
All right, Ms. Menke?
I will say you got to give it to Heard for like being able to sit up there for that freaking long and like still hold the posture. Like I struggle with this, you know, sitting here for that long, just holding my posture and just telling this drawn out story without getting exhausted. I feel like most people get tired up there after just sitting on that stand for so long. I don't know. I love how there's just like a lady on a computer sitting right in front of everything. Just in the middle of it all. I think she's the transcriber, but she's like right in the thick of it, isn't she? Like, just seems like a weird place to have a little cubicle. I don't know. Like the judge just staring at the back of her head all day. Don't those transcribers have like special keyboards too? So they like don't they like take shorthand notes of everything? Then go through it later? I don't know how it works. They gotta be able to type really fast. Could you imagine doing that like back in the typewriter days where it's like made noise every time you hit a key? Be in court and you just hear like, you know, like every time you're trying to talk. All right, what are they arguing about here? Oh man, they're really discussing this with the judge.
Did you communicate at all with Mr. Depp in the days following the Boston plane incident?
Yes, I did.
Please tell the jury about those communications.
I heard from him directly. I also heard from him through his assistants who were texting for him.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
You're not allowed to testify about the text messages with his assistant, but can you tell the jury about your communications with Mr. Depp?
And she should learn by now. You'd think Heard would know by now not to like talk about what other people said.
He was texting through them.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. I'll strike that from the record, and you'll disregard that testimony. Please.
Oh,
Ju-
judge is
just
not having it.
Confine it to the communications you had with Mr. Depp, please.
That he was sorry and told me that he was in a blackout. He didn't remember everything, but what he did remember, he was ashamed.
The thing is, though, right here with this part, since it was all said through, not Johnny Depp didn't say this, but his like assistants or whatever said it, you know, through their phones. On cross, Johnny Depp's lawyer has to be like, yeah, but you didn't hear Johnny Depp say that, did you? And she'll be like, well, no, so he didn't say it. His, you know, assistants or bodyguard, whatever said it. Right. Okay. So therefore, it's not him. It's hearsay. Like none of this matters either way.
My decision to move on and
at least on cross, they're just gonna like if they do decide to bring it up.
And then continue to
I don't know.
contact me.
Depp's lawyers already
I was
know
in New
that
York on
Depp
the
didn't
phone,
actually
and
text her that
he
himself,
said that he
regardless of
was,
whether or not he said to do it.
he had a chip, or that he was going to meetings, that he, I think at the time mentioned another celebrity that was kind of advising him on sobriety, or not advising him, but, you know, encouraging him. And he was saying, well, look, you know, me and this person, we even went to a meeting. I've got 3 days sober, 4 days sober. And that was the last time. The monster will never come back. Monster will never come back. And because it felt like such a different, it felt so much worse than it had ever been before. And because I had, you know, I went to New York and I was trying to get my strength to leave him, I actually thought that it kind of would be the turning point. I thought I had effectively...
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Yeah, she's not answering the question. That's the thing.
Thank you. Go ahead.
But
Please continue.
they're going to keep letting her tell the story.
I thought things would change.
I think it's a good thing that Depp's lawyers are, because basically her lawyer's asking her a question, and she's telling this very like long, convoluted, drawn out story that really doesn't answer the question. And Depp's lawyers are calling her out. They're like, "Hey, non-responsive. She's not answering the question you asked."
Lay the foundation, Your Honor. Let's
And
go
so
to defendants.
that's happened a few times now. So it's good that Depp's lawyers are chiming in, because otherwise she would just keep going on about some random, you know, thing, and the jury's just going to get lost in the weeds.
Objection.
Right now we're watching two grandmasters play chess as well as the trial.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right. So, did you ultimately communicate to Mr. Depp what you first drafted up in an email without saying anything about what's in the email?
That calls for hearsay, Your Honor.
I'm just asking if she did.
No, what she said.
Correct.
Okay. Overruled.
Did you communicate to Mr. Depp what you had drafted in the email? And you don't get to say what you said?
Yes.
Okay. And what, if any, response did Mr. Depp have to your sending that email to him?
He came to New York to fight for the relationship, for me, to prove that he was sober and he was committed to changing.
Hey, Ammon, how you doing?
I believed he was embarrassed and sorry. He said he was, and I believed him.
Good morning. In Australia there. Good day, mate.
So I took him back, or I got back with him on the condition that he would uphold his promise to do the treatment, to do the full detox, clean up, and never go back.
So I'm going to take you now up to the June through August 2014 time frame. And I think you testified earlier, and others have as well, that Mr. Depp brought in Dr. Kipper and his group, correct?
Yes, he did.
Could you please describe for the jury what those next few months were like?
All of a sudden, this doctor gets brought on that we had been talking about. I had heard this name before. And all of a sudden, this doctor, Dr. Kipper, who apparently wrote a book on addiction and was this doctor was going to be the solution, the cure, you know, and he got brought on board, and all of a sudden the plan was that this team would be involved in Johnny's recovery. So it felt real, it felt serious, I felt like protected. You know, I had already by this point heard a million times, it seems like, promises to get clean and sober.
You got a sore throat this morning.
A change.
That's not good.
And they were going to come to Boston and start working with Johnny.
Bro, it's hot as fuck here, man. I tell you what.
On the same level.
Gonna be up to like 100 degrees Fahrenheit this week.
They needed him to finish filming the movie.
You don't know how,
he was going to be
you don't know how judging works, who's winning? Do you know about this case? I'm sure it's made pretty big news over there in Australia too.
The plan was he would obviously
Johnny
abstain
Depp's,
from
I think it's
alcohol completely,
probably a worldwide.
other drugs like weed and coke.
No one, I guess now,
And
but
then when he finished,
I'd say Johnny's winning.
Objection, Your Honor.
I mean, Johnny is suing her. It's not a criminal case or anything, so nobody's going to jail. It's just over money. Johnny is suing Amber for $50 million.
The context there, I don't think she was saying.
Well, we could lay a foundation how she knew, but it's fine.
How did you know that?
I was involved in the conversations
Okay. Please
with the doctors and with his sister.
Objection,
And
Your Honor.
nurse.
That's still hearsay.
All right, I'll sustain the
That
objection.
that part is. So, what did? What
Oh
happened
man, Heard's lawyer's getting shut down hard. Oh,
as a
it's
result
rough.
of these communications without
Rough.
saying what the communications were?
A nurse.
Yeah,
came
it
to
is some domestic
Boston,
violence thing. Well, the
where
case
Johnny
isn't about
was,
domestic violence at
just
all,
would come
really.
For short periods of time.
This court case is all about
on weekends from filming.
Amber
So I
Heard
wrapped my movie
costing Johnny Depp
I think
lots
it
of
was
money because he lost his job. She basically
if I'm not
wrote
mistaken, and then I went to
some
Boston, I was
articles
there,
and said that he abused
the
her
nurse was
and all these things without any
thrown out to
proof.
Boston,
There's no
taken
evidence
away.
for it. He was never convicted of any of it.
and I believe Kipper came out too,
She still doesn't have any proof of it.
and
It's all just her saying
They
it.
put Johnny on a bunch
And
of
basically,
new medications
Disney
that they shared with me,
Removed him
told
from
me
Pirates of the
about.
Caribbean
Objection,
because
Your
of
Honor.
it. I think he lost some other jobs and whatever. I don't know what it was. But basically, that's why he's suing her. He's like, hey, you can't just say all these things without proof. At least in America, you can't do that. Can't it's called defamation. When you can prove that somebody cost you
I saw
your
his
livelihood,
medications
your
change.
whatever. Like companies can
I know
sue
the
other companies for
amount
defamation
that
too.
Johnny told them
Like if Amazon went out and said like
was
that
so that
Walmart
they could maintain
Walmart's products kill people. If Amazon just like publicly put that in a commercial and said like you can't shop at Walmart because their products will kill you. If they said that, Walmart is suing the shit out of them for defamation. Like that's exactly what would happen. Because there's no proof of it. Depp doesn't need proof. Oh, basically yes, he can prove that he can prove that he lost money because like people have come out and said that because you did this, we're no longer going to associate with you. And he's saying, I never did this. There is no proof that I did this. She is lying. And so therefore he is suing her.
Appeared to be asleep while talking to me, and he had a cigarette in his hand, and Johnny constantly smoked, and he just sat this cigarette, as he fell asleep.
And she's
while
just telling a
speaking
really long story
down
for
on
the
his
last
leg.
6 hours. Trying to make
Hand-rolled
Johnny look like
cigarettes, they don't
a bad
stay
person
lit,
and her like a victim.
very long,
But
thankfully.
again, this isn't a case about
he-
domestic
it
violence.
was
This
things
isn't
like that,
a
and I
criminal
didn't
case.
understand it, even though I had experience
I think like a lot of people
with
think it's like
drug use
criminal
in
case,
my
but
family.
it's like
I
no, it's
hadn't seen anything
he's
like
just suing
this,
her
and it was so
for money.
dramatic, the change, that I was trying to figure out with the nurses and doctors.
And in my
what
opinion,
happened,
if I
what
had to
changed,
guess,
how
right?
we could
Like if I was
explain the change and what
I was just a
medications were
guessing
causing.
man or betting man. If I had to
I knew
bet,
there were new
I'd say that they
medications
both
involved,
abused each
so,
other. Like I'd bet that they
I
both
was
physically and verbally abused
constantly,
each other, and it's just a very
very
bad
new
toxic
medication.
relationship. And I'd say that she
Johnny
probably
got
abused him
worse
more
and worse, more,
physically.
of this
I would have to
passing
guess,
on, waking
or
up
at
in
least
the morning,
emotionally and mentally, for sure.
screaming, waking
I'm
up
pretty
in
sure
the
she
night,
cheated on him.
crying,
And
the
she like
emotions would change
likes girls,
from
you know.
one
She
to
was
the
doing a
next,
little scissoring, maybe, I don't know.
by the second, he
But
was
basically, just drove him
there.
nuts. And
I remember.
my guess is they're both
long weekend when he was filming in
just
Boston,
not
we
good
went to this,
for each
like,
other.
like a resort retreat hotel.
The problem is there's no proof of it from her end. He has proof that she is batshit crazy.
It broke my heart. There was just a lot of changes.
She cost him a lot of money, and there's proof of it. So that's what it's just good drama, man. It's just good American Hollywood drama. That's what it is.
The medications.
I have a pretty good feeling he's going to win as far as the court case goes, but
is that he was taking about double the.
I think what would be best for both of them is just to never talk to each other again.
Overruled. Thank you. Please continue.
It was taking about double the amount that he told them was his normal when he started the process with the doctors. So after a few, it's, I think, months of going, what is wrong? And, turning him over when he vomited.
No, he does not want this drama. He dude, he is Pirates of the Caribbean. Dude, he is Captain Jack freaking Sparrow, okay? Since I was a kid,
I realized then he had been lying to them and me.
Like, goddamn. And now he's not because of her. Because of her making up some shit.
But
it's a big deal.
I can't
can't cancel Jack Sparrow. Come on. It's ridiculous. Some bullshit.
Months. It was so agonizing. I don't know how long it lasted, but I was so concerned for this
it's a race to the ponds.
person, and he had just been doubling up his meds because he didn't.
So, Michelle, can you pull up 1092, Defendant's Exhibit 1092?
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean is good. When did the first one come out? I remember when that came out. It was awesome.
I did.
Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 1092.
All right, objection?
No.
2003. All right, yeah, I was 12 years old. Okay.
Published? Thank you.
Remember when that shit came out?
Can you describe?
You can't cancel Captain Jack Sparrow. Okay, get the hell out of here.
This was during that time when
they did. Technically, he is canceled. Like, Disney dropped him,
prescriptions
but
that he was on in the doubling up of the opiates got so bad that he was like this just throughout the day, off and on, and then he would take Adderall and he'd be really animated and ready to go, and then it would be this again, and it was so erratic and it changed so quickly, and I naively now really did not understand what was going on. I deeply cared about this human's well-being. And it was very confusing and scary.
So did there come a time then that Mr. Depp went into detox for Roxycodines or whatever they're called?
Yes, when he finished filming, the plan was to do the detox, and that's what we did.
Depp has been in the same position for ages. What's going on with that? What do you mean, same position?
August of 2014, I believe we left.
Like on screen or in like life, or what do you mean?
10 days, 8th through the 18th, more or less.
And we've heard some testimony about this, but can you please describe for the jury what took place during this detox on the Bahama Islands in August 2014?
It was, for the first few days, okay, peaceful. The nurse, and then later nurse and doctor were staying on a different part of the island. A few minutes drive.
Oh yeah, he's just playing tic-tac-toe.
10-15 minute, by one of those.
He's like writing notes back and forth with his lawyer.
We communicated via walkie-talkie and occasionally through text.
Because you don't want to like talk out loud during the
it was okay at first, and then the behavior, then it just really wasn't okay. It was up, down. He'd be mad at me.
I don't know. He's gone through like
wanting a hug.
100 of those little fucking Post-it pads by now. I swear to God, during this trial. I hope somebody's keeping those.
Wanted to have sex a lot, which is just not like Johnny at all.
Look at him. He's laughing. He's laughing.
It was just like that. It was just up, down, mood, and it was like it felt like a constant was catering to the mood, whatever he was going through.
Hey, what's up, buddy? I haven't said that. How you doing?
Adapt and kind of roll with it and provide support. I was taking his blood pressure. I was on a schedule and constant communication with the nurses about delivering the meds, giving him his meds at a certain time. I was just trying to take care of him. And a few days in, you know, I guess the effects of the detox really started to change. And it went from this like erratic behavior up and down to just really down or mad. He would burst into anger at me, yelling at me. I crossed the table. I walked away from it at the table. I crossed the table in a certain way, and he screamed at me about that and tried to overturn this table.
Started in low res for a second?
Luckily, it was bolted down to the
all right, you got to get ready for school, Ammon, huh?
But I remember him shaking it and screaming, and at a different point, he was really calm and sweet and thanking me. And then
one of the best parts about this trial have been like his reactions to her
balancing out, and we had a conversation, and he was saying he wanted to quit the detox, and he couldn't do it anymore. And I was trying to find the language to encourage him. You know, I was trying to remind him how much he wanted that, how much he had told me he wanted that, how much I was reminding him, he told me all the time, I saved his life, and he wouldn't be doing this without me. And I was telling him these things, and at one point in our conversations, I told him about how...
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Please try to continue without what you said, please.
Yes, stop saying that, Heard. Come on. How have you not learned by now to stop saying he said, she said? You can't say that.
He got so angry at me, he slapped me across the face. But he did it, like, while crying. It was the weirdest thing. He was crying, saying no woman had ever...
I hate this look on her face right now. This look on her face right now.
No woman had ever made him feel like that. I heard that.
Am I the only one who thinks this looks fake as fuck watching this?
On repeat. And
I feel bad if it actually happened, but like...
Felt bad. I feel bad.
I just get this fake vibe, man.
Didn't want to make him feel embarrassed. That's not what I wanted to do. It just was in over my head. I don't know how to detox someone. You know, I don't know how to help them through that. And I shouldn't have been there. You know, I don't...
Why were you there?
Because he asked me to. And I didn't know that was a
hearsay?
Phenomenally dumb idea. I don't know why.
I would have laughed so hard if the fucking lawyer said hearsay after
why
that.
The doctors and nurses didn't tell me not to.
I think she's a terrible actor. After watching this performance.
I had no idea what that was going to look like or be like. And it was hell.
Like, I could probably do a better job at fake crying than her.
I'm trying to take care of him, and he was hallucinating. And
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Overruled.
I guess the live stream resolution isn't that great, so maybe she is having some tears. But I ain't seen no actual tears.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Oh, I'm getting stuck with the hearsay.
It's not offered to prove
God dang.
What's it for?
It's just telling the context of...
I'll sustain the objection. Thank you.
Please continue and
it's
just say what he says and what he did and what your observations were.
Decided not to watch Aquaman 2.
Accusing me of having...
All right, and you have a good day at school. See you, buddy.
We were in a single, in a cabin. It's basically one room with a closet and a bathroom. I mean, there's nowhere to hide, really. I mean, there's a closet and a bathroom. And he, at one point, told me that I was hiding somebody in the house. Another point, he was communicating with someone not in the room. It would yell at me and then yell at someone else. It wasn't there.
He's a ghost.
I tried to ask for what I should do. I didn't know what to do.
The spooky ghost.
It was terrifying and strange. The whole week was...
So... After you left Bahamas,
yeah, bro, he was astral projecting. He's getting on one of the Marvel movies next. He's like, "Fuck Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm gonna be the next Doctor Strange."
Meaning
you'd be a good Doctor Strange, actually, probably. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I like Doctor Strange now. But
Dr. Kipper and I and Johnny, we flew back to LA, and he was going back and forth between saying he wasn't gonna continue to, he was committed. It was back and forth. Everything was up, down, erratic, like changing every second. And we got to LA, and Debbie and Kipper communicated with me. I won't say what they said, but I decided it would be probably in everyone's best interest if I went away to.
Who's Bruce Campbell? I'm bad with names. I gotta see the face.
Johnny put me up in this room in this hotel while he finished the process of detox in LA, and I had my friends out with my girlfriends there to support me.
Really? I guess I haven't seen it.
So Michelle, can you pull up 272, please?
Okay. What's the latest Doctor Strange? Because I don't think I've seen it.
And after you both returned to LA, did Mr. Depp communicate
Is it this one?
with you
Has this come out yet?
by text?
Oh,
while
it's
you
in
were
theaters right now.
apart While he was finishing.
See, I'm not kept up with this. The new
yes,
Doctor
he
Strange.
did.
Oh heck yeah!
John, I'd like to
I'm
move
probably
the
not gonna go
admission
see it in
of
theaters, but I'll wait till it comes
272.
out.
Yes, Your Honor, to the first message.
Heck yeah! Doctor Strange is
Excuse me,
probably
Your Honor,
one of
the
my
second
favorite Marvel movies.
Right.
If not, oh, it came out yesterday. Hell yeah! Look at all these Showtime.
It's just present sense of impression, but I'm understanding Your Honor's rulings on that. So
you want to redact it?
can we redact that second message? All right, Your Honor,
All right. Any objection to 272 redacted?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, 272 is in evidence, and we will publish.
And Amber, I'm going to show you now what is Defendant's Exhibit 272, and this is on August 20, 2014. It's a text message from Mr. Depp to you. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And just so that we can highlight here.
Yeah, let's read this. Yeah. So, all right, just so you know that I'm fine, my angel. I miss you, of course, but this was the right thing to do to speed up the process. I love you more than life. Yours. What is this?
He's calling you. He says, just to let you know that I'm fine, my angel. I miss you, of course, but this was the right thing to do to speed up the process. I love you more than life. Yours, Steve. Do you see that?
I do.
So what, if any, expressions was Mr. Depp giving you at this point that he was angry with you, ever having to help participate with the detox or to be on the island or anything along that line?
Objection, form, compound.
I'll allow it, but just for trying to keep the record clear, 272 has already been entered into evidence without that redactions, and there wasn't any objection. So I would wish if I could have both sides to keep track of their evidence. It's not my job to keep this.
Oh, there you go.
Right. And I just got a note to that effect. So
Okay. So
There's the
272
judge
is
calling
evidence
out
without
both sides,
the
both
redactions.
lawyers, being like, "Hey, y'all, cut this
It's really
shit. I'm tired of
party's
this."
responsibility to take care of the record, not mine.
my apologies on that one, Your
Yeah. Ain't. She's like, "I'm tired of doing this crap."
Honor. All right.
All right, and I overruled the objection, so she can answer the question.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh yeah, Xena. I remember Xena.
Remind me what the question
Laws of
Yes,
transfer
that's
planning
fair.
picture.
That's fair.
Okay, okay.
What, if anything, did Mr. Depp say about that you were torturing him on the island and he didn't want you there?
Very confusing for me to hear that because even though he was hallucinating and angry at me at various moments when he would have these kind of episodes, I did nothing but try to take care of him. I'm not a nurse. I did my best to support him.
I'm confused. I missed what happened with the whole Steve thing. Why is it
And
Steve?
he
Who's
thanked
Steve?
me. He thanked my mom. He thanked my dad. And told me, of course, I saved his life. That he wouldn't be able to make this change without me. And that this process was horrible and hard on him and us and me. But that he was so thankful that I was there for him.
Yeah, who's Steve? I don't know if it's like.
Okay,
I was gonna say, is it like his bodyguard or whatever, like the person who texted for him doing it?
I'm gonna.
But then why would they
take you
sign
up
it as
to
Steve?
September, October of 2014.
She saved another guy's life too. That's right. Yeah.
Do you remember filming Magic Mike 2 in that time frame?
I can see Johnny just getting up like, who the fuck is Steve?
Yes, I do.
And what, if any, connections did you have with Mr. Depp in that time frame?
Well, I bargained.
Did she intentionally match her shirt to the wall behind her?
He told me he would.
I'm just curious. Is that an intentional camera move to just match the shirt to the wall color behind you? Because she's...
But I bargained with him.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Is Depp like laughing back there?
Don't say what you said, just say what he said, okay?
He reluctantly kind of agreed to me working on this movie or taking a job. He was filming a different movie in London at the time. I wasn't going to play a sexualized character. I wore no makeup or minimal makeup in the movie. No sexy clothing. No kissing scenes. No sex scenes. So I went and did that film.
What's wrong with that?
In October of 2014.
No
Georgia,
pornos? Damn.
while he
Shucks.
finished his movie in London. And then at some point he came out to pick me up in Georgia and was there for my last day or two of filming.
Yeah, there's no point to her saying any of this, really.
I'm going to ask you to turn to, Michelle, can you bring up 310, please? Defendants 310.
Oh, no, I need to go watch some, of my law channels that follow this stuff.
Mr. Depp about auditioning.
Like Retic Law and stuff like that, and see what they think of it, because they might have a better idea on what the point of her saying all this is.
It's hearsay.
Because I don't understand it.
I'm not sure who's in the text exchange.
It is a text exchange, Your Honor.
No, I think she's trying to make Johnny sound like he's controlling. That's the whole point. It's like he's not allowing me to do kissing scenes. He's not allowing me to do sex scenes. He's not allowing me to wear a lot of makeup and look provocative. And she wants to make him sound like a really controlling person.
On the second page?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, there's not a ton of movies with
So just that text?
actual intimate sex scenes, really. I mean, what,
Based on Your Honor's
or
ruling,
kissing scenes.
yes.
You know?
Objection to that text?
I don't see
Thank
why,
you,
as a
Your
guy,
Redacted?
another actor, they both can't be like, yeah, neither of us are going to do that because we love each other and we don't want to
And while that's
even
being
go that far.
redacted,
You know,
Amber, let
what's
me
wrong with
ask
that?
you,
Nothing.
What, if anything was Mr. Depp saying to you in this time frame? We're
It seems
talking
like they have so
November
much that they just disagree
2014,
on.
about you not working
That they
anymore,
should have never
not
even been
taking
together.
on any more work
The
or
sex must have
audition.
been damn good or
Objection,
something.
Your Honor,
I'm just saying.
compound.
There's no
No,
fucking
I'm
way
leaving.
Subset.
Overruled,
that-
I'll allow it.
Thank you.
it's gotten to this point without something being the
Johnny was angry
anchor, you know?
with me for working. I had finished my job and I needed to eventually find another job, meaning a movie, to work on. And he was furious at me he found, we call them sides. They're just pieces of an audition, pages. And he found something that had been sent to me to consider auditioning for, and he blew up at me for...
What? Okay.
Yeah, I think what he said to me is that I didn't tell him, that I didn't ask him, and that because he didn't know about that audition that I hadn't done yet, that I had been hiding it, and was furious at me. I ended up not doing that audition, I believe. Well, there was a few, one or two in that time that I did audition for, and one or two that I didn't.
I'm going to ask you now to take a look at what is defendant's.
I don't know if I've watched
310.
Princess's Bride, to be honest.
Do you recognize
If I did, it would have
this
been like 15, 20
email
years ago.
from Mr. Depp?
Yes, it's a text.
Your Honor, I'm going to move for the admission of.
It's in evidence, 310.
Oh, okay.
It's evidence with
Thank you.
redactions, so I published it.
Please tell the jury about this text and the context.
Speaking of princesses, what's
This
up,
was
Anna?
Johnny's response to me apologizing for having an audition.
Yeah, they're both actors.
Thank you. All right, now I'm going to.
One's clearly a lot better than the other, though.
14.
You can guess which one.
And did there come a time that Mr. Depp told you that he understood that you were not going to accept any more jobs, that you were going to stop working?
Well, Johnny said this to me in an argument, in a fit of rage is the best way I can describe it, and kind of alluded to
they're doing
me
this whole.
having
This is the
agreed
new series,
to not work anymore.
and Amber Heard's paying for it. It's going to cost $50 million.
If you don't know me,
Actually, a lot more than that. I thought the lawyer fees.
It's preposterous. There's no way
It's
I
getting
would agree to
ridiculous.
that. Although I did make concessions and gave up a lot of
Objection,
these
Your Honor.
fights.
Hearsay.
That wasn't
Overruled.
Thank you. Please continue.
So he reached out to other people and to me to that effect. Furious at me for taking meetings. There was one in particular I wanted, one meeting I wanted to take because it was a project in development with a sci-fi writer. And I remember I wanted to take that. These things were just, they were
I'm going to skip through this. I want to see the cross.
hard, breaks too many things in the house, and then leaves.
Ours indicates it is.
Look at the facial
it's in
expression
evidence.
difference
Without
from like
redactions, Your Honor.
like a minute ago.
It was redacted, I don't know what
Well-
it was.
Savage. Do you see that?
Yes.
All right. Gonna lose that.
I know you don't come back from that. You know, I'm not dumb. I
That
know
was
you
yesterday.
can't hit a woman. You can't hit a man. You can't hit anyone. You can't just hit somebody because I knew there was I knew it was wrong, and I knew that I had to leave him. And that's what broke my heart. It was the view from the bathroom.
Okay. And then let's go, Michelle, if you can pull up 1811.
If you had been through what I had been through at that point, it's a Malbec or a wine or something. And I remember we hadn't, like, it kind of
Not sure
started
why,
with
but my stream just kind of cut out there. Sorry, guys.
And that was upstairs in that room that we just looked at a picture of, by the sunflowers. That's more or less where we were standing.
I want to see the cross. Is there a cross?
There were only a few left in the bag, so I think it was what he took. He took a big swig out of a. Eventually, he ran out of.
I'm going to ask you.
Oh my
to
gosh,
turn
this is like
to-
another whole day of her just telling her stories. Jesus Christ.
Let's go to 1810. Well, actually, let's go to 1815. Michelle, if you can bring that up. Defendants 1815. And I think these are all in, Your Honor, so if we
Yes,
could publish.
yes.
And what, if any, pictures did you
Yeah,
take?
I don't think there's going to be any cross today.
I took a picture of
Dang.
it was the picture we had right before this, is the one I took because it was in the bathroom where I found my clothes in the tub and stuff like that.
And that's,
Just
let's
rocking.
go to
It's a
374,
fine line between
please.
rocking and shaking and patting and hitting. Lullaby.
That's already in evidence. Is that the picture you're referring to?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I just want to make sure that I understand. What else was in this bathroom where this mirror was?
The bathtub and another mirror, which also had writing on it. The bathtub had a few of my clothes in it and paint, and both of the two mirrors were painted. I believe I took a picture of both mirrors.
Okay. And then I'm going to ask you, Michelle, if you can bring us back to 1831. And did you take this picture?
No.
Okay. And do you see in the mirror there, can you see the bathtub in the back there?
Yes, I can.
All right. Was that the bathtub that you're referring to?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And that had your clothes in it?
Objection leading.
I'm sorry. What, if anything, did it have in the bathtub?
A few of my clothes with paint on them. You can see I think that's what I see in the corner of the mirror.
Okay. And then let's go to 377 for a moment. That was in evidence already?
Yeah, I haven't said that, yeah. Dude, she's so bad. She's such a bad actor. In court. Like, it's just obvious.
And
I don't know why she's trying to.
do you recall seeing this picture earlier?
I do.
Okay. And now let's go to 1829, please. Does that appear to be the same lampshade but in color?
It does appear that.
Okay,
It is.
thank you. All right, now let's just go through. I'm going to ask you to take a look at 1834. And what does this depict that you can recall?
That is the TV that Johnny threw the cup of coffee at.
Okay. And let's go to 1835. And what does this depict?
One of the sofas in the living room next to the kitchen with blood on it.
Okay. And then let's go to 1837. And what does this depict?
It's one of the guest bedrooms with Johnny's iPad on the bed and blood and or paint on the duvet cover.
All right, thank you. Now let's do 1838. And what does this depict?
A lampshade or a lamp that has been robbed of the shade.
Okay. Let's go to 1839.
I pull up their chat on the live stream, and like the first thing I see is, "We've been waiting a week for Cross."
What does this depict?
A different
I think she's
bed
been doing this, I think,
with,
now for what? How many
more
days?
blood on it.
Then let's go to 1840.
Maybe it's a tactic just to wear the jury down. I don't know.
And what does this depict?
I don't know.
Blood on one of the guitars that Johnny was apparently trying to play.
Okay. Then
He's apparently trying to play it.
Objection, Your Honor.
what
Calls
if
for
any-
speculation.
I didn't even get
Yeah,
the
'cause you
word
can't
out.
say apparently try to play. Just,
Okay.
why you got to word it like that?
What, if any, effort did you make to play a guitar?
I've never played the guitar.
Okay. Let's go to 1841.
She's getting. I don't know.
What does this depict?
It is where
I'd be
Johnny
frustrated
slammed
if that was her
the
lawyer,
end
to
of
be
a
honest.
bottle into the wall
I mean,
while holding me up
she's trying
against
to
it.
like. She's trying to make the. She's like. I think she's trying to take the case into her own hands a little bit. Like she's trying to like say like add these
This
little like,
happened in two rooms.
chime in these little things, right?
The bottle
Like that
into
he was
the
apparently
wall,
trying to play. You know, like shit like that.
The best of my
that
recollection happened in the
Johnny's lawyers could just
kitchenette
object to.
bar area
right?
downstairs, but I can't be 100% certain.
So, I don't know. Show
Let's
us
go to
all your
1842.
guns you apparently try to fire. I'm not showing you my guns. I got
What
a
does this
BB gun
depict?
back here.
Another broken lamp.
It's the only gun you can see right now.
And then I've just got a few more left. 1805. And what does this depict?
Wine spill. It looks like the remnants of a wine glass being thrown. And it looks like broken glass.
Do you recognize where this was in the house?
Well, it looks like a bedside table, but I can't be certain.
Okay. Let's go to 1806.
I can't be certain what that table is in this house that I should know, but I know that it was because of a wine glass thrown.
All right. Let's let's skip that one and let's go to 1808.
I just want to hear cross so bad. Everybody wants to hear the cross examination, but this is just,
You know what this depicts?
it's going to be a while.
Wine spill.
Okay. All right.
What does this depict?
Now
Yeah.
you started
Amber Heard, what's your
to
favorite color?
testify about, well, before we go there, in these pictures, would you say they accurately depict the damage that you saw that third morning?
No.
What else, how are they not accurately depicting?
Well,
What?
if you can believe it, this is it seems significantly cleaned up. There was much more damage, specifically broken glass. On the countertops, there was a lot of broken glass. I could feel it cutting my arms when I was trying to get up. And I could feel it underneath my feet. So I don't know when these pictures were taken, but
There's glass
there's been some
everywhere.
cleanup.
The house was covered in glass. I was walking and crawling in glass.
Now, you indicated that
Somebody cleaned it up.
that Johnny had turned on your iPhone and recorded. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did there come a time that you discovered a recording on your iPhone from Australia?
Yes, much later, there was this 5-hour-long recording, and naturally I didn't know what that could possibly be, because even though Johnny and I recorded each other often as part of our, struggles to figure out our relationship, this one was, 5 hours was unusual. And that's when I discovered that there had been this recording of the end of the Australia incident, if you will.
And did you listen to that recording?
I have heard it, yes.
And does it
I
accurately?
wonder if Johnny's just like has one of those post-it pads and he's just like drawing little pictures on each one. He's making a little like flip book for the court. All right, we're gonna skip past this.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay. Remember, you testified that you made arrangements to return home. Can you describe, let's take you to at the point you left the Australia house to go to the airport and were accompanied by Ben King. Could you tell the jury what transpired during that period of time?
So
Wait, what?
I left
What happened?
Australia shortly after that.
There's a recording.
My understanding was Johnny was in the hospital for his finger.
They had an apology to Australia for bringing their dogs into the country without quarantine. Oh my god, that's freaking hilarious.
On the way to the airport,
Australia.
Johnny calls me, and we were just crying on the phone.
That is so funny.
He was crying.
No way. What's up, Dominic? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man.
He asked if it was, if he had killed it, meaning the relationship, it was, I don't remember the exact words that he used, but it was kind of asking me in that way, is it done? Is this over? Did we kill it? Did I kill it? That sort of thing. I don't remember what I was saying to him, but we hung up as I went into the airport. I had a mix of feelings. Nothing really was making perfect sense to me, for sure. And I flew back with Ben. I don't really remember speaking to Ben on the flight.
Do you, when Mr. Depp was, what you testified on what Mr. Depp said to you on the phone ride, were you on the phone with anyone else, or was it just Mr. Depp you were on the phone with?
I only remember speaking to Johnny, and I remember sitting in the backseat of the SUV that had driven me, and we were outside of the entrance where you walk into the airport, and I even then felt torn.
Is this still live right now?
It
is.
I don't know what happened after that. I went back into the room, or he went into the room. I don't know who went into the main room first. Trying to get his body off of me, and he was just pummeling me. I don't know how else to describe what I was.
Yeah,
this is another example of when I wish so much I could tell you an exact sequence, but I can't. It's flashes. So I'll tell you what I do remember. I remember at some point trying to flee upstairs, and we had he got a hold of me, and I got free, and I managed to get all the way up the stairs almost. I was on the last flight, and we'd had some interaction where I think I said something to him on the stairs. It might have been broken up, and I think I said something on the stairs, and I just remember how quickly he shot back up those stairs and grabbed me by the back of my hair, my head, and slammed his hand on my head. And I went down on the stairs, and he overtook me. I remember him so well. I remember his boots and the sound they made. I remember him grabbing my hair, my head, and kind of dragging me up the stairs the rest of the way. He dragged me into the room that those stairs open into. It's like a salon foyer area. And we had this argument that kind of, was a shoving match that I was losing. By the second or third shove, he sent me toppling over this chaise lounge, like a little low-lying sofa seat, and I hit my head on the brick wall. There was an exposed brick wall. I remember I stood up, and I remember Johnny
she's just making this
asking
all up
me if I wanted to go. And he did that thing where he's like challenging me. He said it in that way, challenging me to stand up.
It doesn't really matter,
Get back up. And when I did, he said, "Oh, you really want to go now, tough guy?"
In this case, at least.
Shoved me back down. "Oh, you really want to go, huh? Oh, you're so tough." I stood back up again. This time he hits me in the face. I stand back up and look him right in the eyes. And it was just a really still moment. I'll never forget it. Really still. I stood up and he said, "You want to go again, tough guy?" And I just looked right at him, just looked right at his face.
I said,
and he balled
"Fuck
up
yeah."
his fists,
Probably.
leaned back, and headbutted me square in the nose. Just right as I stood in front of him. I was a foot from him. Just slammed me right in the nose. Instantly, searing pain. It's one of the few memories I have in this long relationship that I actually remember.
Probably more to the story.
The physical pain in that moment, just searing. And
just hyper detailed on the
I
stuff that doesn't
remember
matter.
thinking, you have your hands free. I had time to think. You have your hands free. You could have hit me with your hands. Why did you headbutt me? I told him that night I was going to leave him. I went through his office to go into the other room where I kept all my stuff. We had another struggle. He overtook me. I was trying to hit him off me. I was trying to get him to get his body off of me, and he was just pummeling me. I don't know how else to describe what I was.
My guess is they were hitting each other pretty good.
I went down to the floor.
She's leaving out a lot of very key things.
I remember being on top of me, and he's screaming and swinging at me while I was on the floor. He had me by the hair and dragged me the rest of the way from the office into the neighboring room, the neighboring apartment. I remember the door that connected these two rooms had a metal grate, not a grate, but a metal bottom, metal floor that separated it. It's a big, heavy bank door. And I remember he was dragging me, and I removed my hands from my head and kind of tried to grab onto the metal door to prevent him from dragging me into the room. But I couldn't stop him. He dragged me all the way from that carpet. I was trying to get free of his grasp. I was trying to stop him from pulling me. I remember feeling the carpet and the metal.
I'm not buying a single bit of this. I'm not going to lie.
He wrestles me, drags me up to the bed, throws me down onto the bed. It kind of wrestles me down onto the bed. And he kneels on my back with one leg. And I was trying to fight him off me because I was face down on the bed top. And he wrestled me down, kind of trying to hold me down with his knee on my back. And he's punching me with a closed fist, punching me repeatedly. And I don't remember even feeling the pain. I just remember the sound of Johnny's voice. He got next to my ear and he was screaming over and over and over again. Each time it sounded louder and more desperate. I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you. Over and over. Fucking hate you. And then pounding the back of my head, pounding it with his fist. And I don't even remember feeling pain. I just could hear myself scream until I couldn't hear myself anymore. I could just hear him say that he was going to kill me.
What?
And that he sounded like an animal in pain when he was saying that he fucking hated me. He sounded like he was almost crying, or something in his voice was different. He sounded different, he sounded like he was in agony. It was high-pitched and loud. And I don't know how many times he just hit me over and over again.
Just think, here's why Johnny's laughing. It's because This is why it sounds made up too.
In my body, like,
And it probably is. It's like high pitch and desperate. Like she's making inferences. This should be one of the most traumatic experiences of most people's lives if this actually happened. I'm sorry, like the way she's describing it. And then, but she's throwing in these inferences on what, like in the like stuff that no person would normally reference to if this actually happened. I don't know, that it just doesn't sound natural. I'm sorry. There's just like something in my brain that's like red flag flicking off. You know, it's like nope, something's off here.
In this pillow top, with him holding me down, punching me over and over, and I don't have any memory after that until I woke up.
Bro, I'm sorry, but this.
When you woke up, was there anyone there?
A fucking donkey punch? Oh my god. You donkey punched me. Oh, sorry, that was Greta.
I remember.
Oh shit, there's a tornado warning. Fuck.
Hearing my best friend's voice. I felt like it came, felt like it was like on a speakerphone, like it came from everywhere. I just heard her voice in a weird way. It felt like it was coming from two directions. And I realized that I was sitting on the edge of the bed, on the carpet of the floor against the broken frame of the bed. And there was a low-lying bed with a really thick wooden frame.
Hold up, chat. I gotta go look outside. Apparently there's a fucking tornado watch right now.
From his boot, trying to get a purchase on it while he was...
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
I could feel it. Overruled.
Thank you. Please continue.
I was there for it. And while he was on top of me, I could feel that. I could feel him trying to get balance. I could feel him slipping. I could hear it. I don't know how I got off the bed. I don't know what happened to me from the time I stopped hearing myself scream. I don't know what happened to me. It's a really weird feeling because next thing I remember is leaning against the broken part of the bed and on the carpet, and my friend saying, "Oh my God, oh my God."
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
Sustained.
Okay. Go ahead. And without
then
knowing what Rocky said.
I eventually, she called the nurse Erin. She got something out of the freezer for my face. She did a concussion check with Erin on the phone. I thought I probably had a concussion, and certainly thought I had a broken nose. There was blood everywhere, blood all over those pillows. My head was bleeding from the ripped out hair, chunks of hair on the floor all over the place, actually. It was just all over the apartment. He after leaving me, had written on the countertops in Sharpies.
Michelle, I'm going to ask you to bring up Defendant's Exhibit 510. Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes, I do.
And does it accurately depict the scene portrayed?
Yes, that's the next day, I think.
Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 510.
No objection.
All right, 510 evidence. You can publish it, please.
Thank you. And could you describe to the jury what that is?
It was chunks of my hair Johnny ripped out while dragging me and punching me.
Thank you. Michelle, could you bring up 513, please? Defendants 513.
What'd I miss?
Does this picture accurately depict
Where's the tornado?
and the scene
I don't know.
portrayed?
I think this is
I
a
don't
couple
see it
days
yet.
later, but yeah.
Okay. I'm going to move
got
the
some wings,
admission
though.
of
I gotta eat
defendants 513.
No
Leftover
objection.
All right,
wings.
513 in evidence.
Or I should say nuggets because they're boneless wings.
And could you tell the jury what this is and what it depicts?
This is my face with a busted lip, which it's difficult to see in this picture, but my two black eyes, one is worse than the other. Like I said, maybe a day or two later. And my broken nose.
All right. Thank you. Michelle, can you bring up Defendants Exhibit 514? Does this accurately portray the scene depicted?
Yes, that's my face sometime after.
Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendants 514.
No objection.
514 in evidence, you can publish.
All right, if you could just briefly describe for the jury what this one is.
That's my face. Some time after, and Johnny beat me up.
Thank you. Michelle, if you could bring up Defendants 515. Does this accurately portray the scene depicted?
Yes.
Going to move the admission of Exhibit 516.
No objection.
515 or 516?
516, I'm sorry if I misspoke.
You said 515
Oh.
before.
It's 515? 515.
No objection to 515? Okay.
No, Your Honor.
515 in evidence, you can publish.
And what does this
Well, they're going to object to the next one.
depict? Amber, could you tell the
Sounds like.
jury?
This is my face sometime after.
All right. Let's look at Defendants 516.
I don't see a
please.
broken nose or a busted lip, but that's just me. I'm not saying she didn't have one. I don't see it. Usually, if you break your nose too,
Does this
because
accurately
I have broken my
portray the
nose.
scene
Got hit in the
depicted?
face with a lacrosse ball when I played lacrosse. Or actually, when I coached lacrosse, I got hit in the face. That's the only time I got hurt.
Yes,
Coaching
it does.
so
This
little
is
fucking kids.
maybe.
Wait,
I got hit
let me-
between the
let me
eyes,
move it
broke my
first.
nose.
May I move
Wasn't
the
even a bad
admission of
break.
Defendants Exhibit 516.
But both my
No
eyes got
objection.
516
fucking
in evidence?
bad.
Published to the jury, please.
Usually, when you break your nose, your eyes get pretty fucked.
Okay,
That-
Amber, go ahead
That
and
was
explain
me.
what it is.
I don't know for sure. But
I
it doesn't
think
seem like
this
she's got a
is,
broken nose there. Maybe she does.
Maybe,
Maybe it looks like there's like a
that
cold sore
night
on it, but
or the next night
I don't know.
after Johnny left me on the bed.
Let's go to 517. Does this accurately portray the scene depicted?
Yes, it does.
Move to admit
guys.
Defendants 517, Your Honor.
No objection.
517 in evidence?
Amber, please describe for the jury what this portrays.
That's my face
Oh, you got the lip?
after this incident.
And what's
look bad.
portrayed on your lip?
Well, he busted my lip when he punched me. It's bleeding in this picture. It kept reopening. You know, it's a mouth. The lips move.
You don't need to explain to us
519.
that fucking lips move. This is my point. God, this is why she bugs the shit out of me. And it wasn't bleeding in the picture. So don't try and say like, oh, it kept opening up and bleeding because lips move. And, you know, lips, it's a mouth.
The scene depicted.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Move the admission of.
People can see it looks like your lip has
objection,
something
Your
on it there.
Right,
They say my lip was busted. End of story.
And tell the jury what this shows.
This is my lip a few days later.
Hey, it healed.
Let's go to defendants 520, please. Does this accurately depict the scene portrayed?
Yes.
Move the admission of defendants 520. Is it 521 or 520? 520.
No objection.
520 in evidence, published.
Can you please tell the jury what's depicted here?
Better bald spot? What is that?
That's my scalp with a chunk of it missing from when Johnny was dragging me by my hair.
Let's go to defendants 521, please. I don't think that's the same. Let's take that one down. Let's go to 522.
They're whispering something. Yeah. It's not looking like we're getting across
Does this
today.
accurately portray the scene depicted?
Well, it's a few days later.
Okay. Move the admission of 522, please.
No objection.
522 in evidence.
And what shows there?
My face is healing.
Okay. Let's go to 523.
Okay. It's her normal face. All right.
Does this accurately portray the scene depicted?
Yes, I think this is day or so after, maybe longer. I can't tell, but yes, it does.
Move the admission of 523.
No objection.
523 in evidence.
And I'm just going to draw your attention, Amber, to an area up here. What, if any, bruising did you sustain in that area?
Objection leading.
Yeah, that's leading as
I'll
fuck,
sustain
bro.
the objection.
Okay.
What the hell is
What,
that?
if any, bruising did you sustain?
As I
objection.
circle where the bruising should be.
Sustain the objection.
What the hell is
Did you-
this?
What injuries did you have?
I had bruising
I had
on
bruising
my
where you
temple,
circled
my
them.
chin, my neck, the back of my head. I had swelling and pieces of, my scalp kind of ripped, torn. They were gross, pussy. But this is of the bruising around my temple from one of the blows, several of the blows, I don't know.
Let's go to 524. Does this accurately portray the scene shown?
Yes.
Okay. Move the admission of 524.
No objection.
524 in evidence.
And
Oh, it's about to
what
get
does
real
this show?
fucking nasty right over where I'm living.
I had
right
a
now.
pretty,
I might lose internet and power.
Can I touch the
We'll
screen?
see.
Yes.
Yes,
yeah,
Oh,
you
shit.
can.
It's about to get real
and
fucking
I had a
nasty.
pretty gross bruise right there in my
Oh, wait, maybe not. Hold on.
head,
Maybe,
on my
maybe
temple.
it's going the other way.
It's difficult to see it in this light, but I remember it was pretty
No, I think I might be good.
ugly.
Maybe not.
now let's go to Defendants
maybe like an hour might be
509. Does this accurately portray the scene depicted?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, I move the admission of defendants 509.
No objection.
All right, 509.
Will you please tell the jury what this is?
That's the bed that Johnny broke.
That's the bed she shat on too, I think.
On top
no,
of
I'm just
me.
kidding. I don't know if it is or not.
All right, let's go to defendants 511, please. Does this accurately portray the scene depicted?
Yes.
Move the admission of defendants 511.
No objection.
All right, 511 in evidence.
What do you see in this picture, Amber?
Just more destruction from a part of the fight that happened in the bedroom.
Destruction.
Not the
Look at all
bedroom
the
that I was
destruction.
just talking about. It was the main bedroom. There had been a part of the fight that happened in there too.
Let's go to defendants 512, please. Does this accurately portray the scene depicted?
Yes, that's downstairs in the main.
Wait, let me move the admission of it. Move the admission of defendants 512, please.
No objection.
512 in evidence.
Okay, now please tell the jury about it.
It's downstairs in the main apartment.
The wine spilled on the ground. Damn.
Let's go to defendants
Probably
525.
expensive wine too, you know. I think this is pretty much the end of it, guys,
And does this accurately
for today. What else do they
depict
show?
And
have
to show
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you can just stay there for a moment. All right,
Yeah,
ladies
there's no
and
cross
gentlemen,
today.
we're going to be breaking, again, this is the time that we break for a week, okay? So I won't be seeing you until May 16th. But I
Oh,
wanted
wow,
to
it's a
talk to you
week
little bit
break.
about how the remainder of the case will progress, okay? All right, so
Wow,
we
fuck.
promised
Feel
to get
bad for
the
this
case
jury,
to you
man.
by
Jesus.
Memorial Day. So in order to keep that promise, there's going to be a few things I need from you, okay? One thing is, starting on May 16th, we're going to start having court at 9 a.m. So we'll be going 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Some days we might have to go to 5:30, so I want to let you know ahead of time so you can plan accordingly, okay?
All right, well, we don't need to hear any of this, guys. All right, I'm going to jump off. I got a big storm coming anyway, so I don't want to lose power in the middle of this, but thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are tuning in from, but appreciate you being here. We will catch you later. Peace, love, cheers, bye-bye.